We're here in the nation's capital at historic RFK Stadium, where Morehouse and Howard are set to get underway for the fourth consecutive AT&T Nations Football Classic on Comcast Sportsnet. The Nations Football Classic presented by AT&T, mobilizing your world. And we're at RFK Stadium in the nation's capital. Howard 0-2, about to face Morehouse at 1-0. And it is a black college football rivalry, a matchup that dates back to 1923. Hello and welcome into the nation's capital here at RFK Stadium alongside Carter Ismail. I'm Brett Harrison. Q. This is a matchup that goes a long way back. The last 4 years of this AT&T Classic, we've had some classics. It always goes right down to the wire. As we look at the preview of this matchup, how about Howard, starting with their quarterback Greg McGee, the defending MEAC Player of the Year?
Special player. This guy can make plays. He's the heart and soul of their offense. He's the guy that makes this thing go. I think if you're expecting some fireworks, you look at number 7. Number 7 absolutely lights it up as far as what they try to do, getting the ball down the football field. Everything runs through Greg McGee.
On the defensive side, Devin Rollins has been a tackle machine for the Bison.
Yeah, Devin Rollins, I think the biggest thing for him is all about playing downhill, fast and physical. They're going to need that type of effort today.
Morehouse got a win in their opener, all about the running game. They went for 266 on the ground, and Sheldon Hamilton had a balk of that.
Well, they love running the football, and they love featuring number 27. Very elusive runner, very physical runner, and absolutely knows where to get as far as the end zone.
And the Maroon Tigers want to get pressure on the quarterback. That's going to start with this guy, Clarence Christian.
Well, Clarence Christian, he's the guy who's very disruptive. He is one of those guys where he raises up the level of play as far as his whole defense is concerned. Look to him to make some special plays, especially if you're trying to stop a dynamic player like Greg McGee.
Kickoff just around the corner of the AT&T Nations Football Classic. Howard raising the volume with Morehouse in the house.
So what we're looking for is
Today's game is brought to you by AT&T, mobilizing your world. And welcome back to RFK Stadium. 70 degrees, rain throughout this afternoon. Right now holding off, and we'll see if it continues throughout this afternoon's game. Howard and Morehouse getting set for this AT&T Nations Football Classic. Let's head down to the field. Our third member of the team, Lou Holder. Lou?
Thanks, Brent. I'm here with Coach Harrell. Coach, obviously, weather is going to be a factor today. This is the first time in this Classic that the weather has played some type of role. How is this going to affect you guys as far as the ground game, how you throw, because the weather's so unpredictable for today?
Well, we have a game plan. We plan on sticking to it. You know, we're not concerned about the forecast. If we get too carried away where we feel like the ball is getting a little slippery and the game will get a little messy, then we'll have to make an adjustment. But right now we plan on going at Morehouse full attack, run game, pass game, special teams wise. We want to make sure we use all our bullets this game and make sure we understand that we try to make an example of what we're trying to become as far as for the MEAC. We try to make sure that we be champions, and this is where it starts. We have to win. This is a must-win for us, not because it's Morehouse. It can be Rutgers because it's the next game, and it's not now. It's time for Howard to win.
Right. Your players have never lost in this Classic, but how important is it you tell these players that those past years don't buy you anything today?
Well, you know, right now we're treating this game like it's year one. You know, we're not thinking about the first 3 games that was played. Morehouse is a tough team. Every year they come ready to prepare to play. Coach Freeman and Steph do a great job as far as getting his team up for this game and always well prepared scheme-wise. So this is like a first game that we're treating. You know, we're going in and trying to win this game. We're not thinking about the first 3 games. We're not trying to get complacent. We just want to stay in the moment. And right now, like I said, we need to win badly.
Coach Ralph, thanks so much.
Thanks.
All right. Brent, back up to you.
Thank you, Lou. Coach Flea Harrell, his third season, not giving up too much of his game plan. He does have a dual-threat quarterback in Greg McGee, and you can hear from the coach there. He feels like they can do a little bit of both this afternoon. The head coach for the Morehouse Maroon Tigers, Rich Freeman, 8th season, 42-30 overall. Coach Freeman, one of those no-nonsense coaches, Q, that expects the most out of his guys. And you'll see, too, no beards, no long hair. He says you got to reflect the Morehouse mystique.
Yeah, it is about
setting a certain tone, and I think that's what we see as far as Coach Freeman is concerned when it comes to representing Morehouse.
All right, Cadre, let's take a look at today's keys of the game presented by Wells Fargo.
Yeah, definitely. I think the biggest thing you got to do is establish yourself offensively, and of course you're talking about making big plays, and you got to go ahead and contain the two-headed rushing attack. If you're the Maroon Tigers, it's all about running the football. Well, you got to contain Sheldon Hamilton and Cameron Fields. Cameron Fields had 173 all-purpose yards in the opening season victory. Of course, you're talking about Morehouse, and Howard is weak in his secondary. They have a strong defensive front, but they're weak in the secondary. And of course, as I just spoke about, Cameron Fields, very explosive, dynamic player, win the battle on special teams. They've gotten off to some slow starts in years previous in this classic, but it's their special teams play that I believe today can make a decided difference.
It's going to be Morehouse who will kick it away for the Bison. It's Robert Mercer and William Parker back, and it'll be Parker who pulls in the kick. And he's got a small seam, and then he's dropped right at the 22-yard line.
That's called setting the tone right there. Great kickoff, but great coverage as well.
So the Bison led by Greg McGee, the senior out of Pittsburgh, 6'3", 210 pounds last year, over 3,000 all-purpose yards. He is the reigning MEAC Player of the Year. He had 19 total touchdowns last season.
Well, Brent, you know, when you're experienced as he is and he's had the level of success, you just know that the game has slowed down and is about just playing with a lot of poise. And that's something that I think that we're going to see tonight. This young man playing with tremendous poise.
He's a dual-threat quarterback, the left-hander, and his first play is a throw complete to Matt Colvin. That's going to be a pickup of a couple. Now here's a look at today's starting lineups presented by Events TV, and for Howard up front, Torrey Boyd, he's the first team All-MEAC at right tackle, the sophomore out of Miami. Second play, it's going to be a run, right side, nowhere to go. And then a look at the Bison backfield. Quainius Freeman, the redshirt junior out of New Orleans. Casey Bratton, the fullback, and a trio of wide receivers, Hartman and Colvin. 3rd and 6 for Howard. Into the flat, just overthrows Colvin, takes a pop at the end of the play, and Howard's going to have to punt here on their first possession.
Yeah, not the kind of start you want. You absolutely know that you have an opportunity to set the tone today, get in good field position, driving down the football field. I thought Greg McGee on that one, just kind of overthrew his receiver. I don't know whether or not if it was a scenario where, the ball's a little bit slippery. It did rain earlier in pregame, so we'll see how the game progresses as far as that throw. Too high, and I don't know if it was weather affected.
Joshua Thurston is back for the Maroon Tigers. John Fleck back to punt. He just gets the punt on, and it's going to be fielded by Thurston. Nowhere to go, and dropped. Tackle made by Kenneth Hagans.
Like it might be roughing the kicker or running into the kicker, depending upon our head official's interpretation.
See if we can get the microphone there working and get the call. Looking over to the near side, and checking with the head coach.
Running into the kicker, defense, 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
Fleming Williams is our lead referee here today.
Sometimes in games like this, you get over anxious, big stadium, RFK, and you're trying to make a special play, and yeah, one where you wish you had that back.
Kamar Smith, tight end out of Windsor, Connecticut, with the flag. Let's go down to the sidelines, and Lou with a special guest. Lou?
Yes, Brent, special indeed. Doug Williams is here with us. Doug, you being here in this stadium brings chills to not just Redskin fans, but NFL fans all over the nation, knowing what you did on this field. What's it like stepping back on this side?
You know, I hadn't been here since the last game I played here, you know, and the memory that comes back to me was, you know, we played the Minnesota Vikings for the championship game. I'm looking at Darryl Green knock that ball loose from Darren Nelson right now, man. It's a great feeling to come back to RFK.
First time here in this stadium, but obviously your time as a Super Bowl winning quarterback is just a small snippet of your playing career. You're a product of an HBCU environment. You were head coach at Morehouse and a Grambling. Obviously, everybody knows that Grambling history. Talk to me about the pride of being a product of an HBCU.
Well, you know, you come to the stadium, you know it's obviously not feel like a lot of other stadiums, but you know what goes in your heart and what you see out there, knowing that you was a part of what's on the field today, and I wouldn't be here today if I had not gone to a HBCU like a Grambling State University. And you know what, I'm just thankful to be able to come to a game and watch a Howard and a Morehouse play, and having coached at Morehouse and coached at Grambling and spent a year at Southern University, man, I know what it's like coaching and playing for HBCU.
Let's bring it back up a level to the NFL. What are some of the quarterbacks you see now that you are saying as Doug Williams, I like his style? I mean, what quarterbacks out there on the NFL level are you saying that about?
Well, you know, of course, we got our young guy here who's in the maturing stages, but, you know, you see a Russell Wilson, you see a Luck, you see Cam Newton and guys like that. And, of course, you know, I still enjoy watching the older guys, you know, the Peyton Mannings and the Bradys of the world, you know. You can't get enough of those guys and the Drew Breeses. So, you know, we got so many good quarterbacks out there, and the young guys and some young guns that's going to have to take this league and carry it on for the rest of, you know, the generation, and they're going to keep coming in.
Great to have you, Doug. All right, Doug Williams. Brent, first time back in RFK since he played. Wow. Back up to you.
All right, thank you, Lou. It's hard to believe, and the quarterback now on the field wearing the same numbers as Doug Williams wore in this field, and looking a lot like Doug Williams. A long scramble for a first down and now a long completion. And Marcavius Johnson for the Maroon Tigers has Morehouse on the move.
Yeah, they're playing an up-tempo style football. They're spreading the ball out, and I love the way Johnson is getting rid of the football quickly. He got it to McGuffey that time, and you just see the strong run-after-catch effort by the young sophomore.
This time it's the handoff left side. It's going to be a pickup of 8.
You know, Brett, when you talk about this game, it is about attacking the outside, but you also have to stay true to what you've been about. You've been a running football team. When it comes to Morehouse, they're going to go ahead and they're going to play up-tempo style. They're getting a call from the sideline based upon the look of the defense. But make no mistake about it, Shelton Hamilton is their #1 threat.
2nd and 2 for Morehouse. Right at the 20-yard line. It's going to be a play fake. Johnson rolling right. Fakes the throw, pulls it down, and that's going to be a first down, a pickup of 8. Let's take a look at the starters on the Morehouse side of the football. And along that offensive line, Alfred Thomas, the right tackle, coming back from an ankle injury. And then in the backfield, Sheldon Hamilton, the starting running back. Lake McGuffey and Don Cox, your wide receivers. The two still looking for their first receptions on the season.
Well, he got Lake McGuffey started off really well with a nice reception and strong run after catch. Helped keep this drive alive. Now they're in the red zone. Let's see them make something out of it.
High snap, Johnson to the end zone. And incomplete, just overthrowing Justin Browning. Let's take a look at the Howard defense. There's Devin Rollins at linebacker, had 10 tackles last week against Rutgers. Cameron Alston, he led this team in tackles last year. He's first-team All-MEAC in the backfield. No Julian David today.
No.
With a strong safety, and with a Bison certainly could miss him. He's out with a foot injury. Happened last week against Rutgers.
That's
leadership they'll lack there in the secondary.
Yeah, that's a tough blow right there without Julian David. Very, very strong competitor.
Marquavius Johnson changing the call at the line of scrimmage, and there's going to be a timeout on the field. And
Timeout.
head coach Rich Friedman not happy at all.
Timeout.
Maroon Tigers will talk about it. We'll take a quick timeout here in the nation's capital. We'll be back to RFK right after this.
In the heart of the most powerful city in the world, Events DC delivers world-class events that connect, delight, and inspire. Our passion shines through, making every event special. Experience all that Events DC can offer. Engage, excite, entertain in a city like no other.
For David and Kelly, a playful thought
How long before he goes to college?
became a real question.
Are we ready to pay for college?
So they came to see me. And we talked about ways to manage their money and save for college that fit their situation. So when little David, well, not so little David, was ready to go to college, his parents were ready too.
We did it.
Let's talk about smarter ways to manage and save your money. When people talk, great things happen. Wells Fargo. Together we'll go far.
Opening drive for Morehouse, a 2nd and 10. Back to the AT&T Nations Football Classic, 4th straight year these two have collided here. And Howard winning each of the last 3, but each have gone right down to the wire, and this one with a good start. Johnson and the handoff. Left side, Cameron Fields, and nowhere to go. Dropped in the backfield. It's going to be a loss of 2.
Yeah, they like to bring in Cameron Fields, kind of change the pace back, but you know, I still think you got a guy in Sheldon Hamilton. I know you're, getting a little bit of that hurry-up style offense. You're keeping the guys out there on the field, and they're calling the play from the sideline. Leon Murray is the offensive coordinator for the Maroon Tigers, and really, your bell cow, you need him in the game. Put him back in.
Tavius Matthews for the Bison there on the tackle in the backfield. So that's going to bring up a 3rd down and 13 for Morehouse. Johnson back. The quick throw. It's caught and walking into the end zone. Touchdown, Morehouse. Lake McGuffey hauled it in and strolled in for the score.
Well, you talked about coming into this game, the need to have catches and be productive and be a part of this Maroon Tiger offense. Well, we're seeing it right now. Moncavius Johnson with a strike to his receiver. Put it where the receiver can shield the ball from the DB. That's what he did, and that's why he scored.
Alexis Gonzalez on the point after, and it hits the upright and no good.
A lot of poise on that drive by Moncavius Johnson.
And what a drive for Morehouse. 8 plays, 65 yards, 3 minutes and 40 seconds. And we saw Moncavius Johnson do it both with his feet and with his arm. And this touchdown throw, Q, was a strike.
Yeah, it was. Again, nice slant route. Again, when you're talking about getting in front of the defensive back, sometimes the defensive backs, they jump slant routes because they read the quarterback 3-step drop real quickly. You have to be disciplined. McGuffey was disciplined on his route, came across the defensive back, and really made the play. I love the fact that you're talking about a guy who is just playing with tremendous poise on this opening drive. Moncavius Johnson, nice pitch and catch throw for the touchdown to McGuffey.
And how about the sophomore McGuffey from Georgia? His first reception of the season, and it is a touchdown, and it puts Morehouse in the lead here 6-0 after the missed extra point. But Morehouse coming north on the road. It's a neutral site game, but let's make no mistake about it. Morehouse is the road team here in the Road Whites. And to start the way they did, Moncavius Johnson, 59 total yards on that drive, 35 through the air and 24 on the ground.
Well, let's just be clear about it. Morehouse is coming to play, even though they might have fewer scholarships. They don't have quite the resume of Howard. They absolutely are a team that you cannot take lightly.
And the kick is deep. Parker is going to take it at the 5. Right side, he's got a seam and down the sidelines. The kicker tripping up. Parker Gonzalez making a nice play, but Parker with a huge return for the Howard Bison all the way into Morehouse territory.
Yeah, this is what you needed. You know, if you're a Bison, you just had your defense, you know, give up an opening drive, touchdown. At the same time, you're talking about giving a spark back to your offense. Give them a short field to work with. Go ahead. And that was a great job of running and eluding guys and making something out of nothing.
52-yard kick return for William Parker. Great field position here for Howard on 1st and 10. Quick throw out to Colvin, left side. That's going to be a pickup of about 12 and a first down for Howard.
Colvin is the best all-around receiver for this team. He's the guy that when you need to get something going, you get it into his hands. He's an explosive guy. Keep your eye on number 2 today.
Colvin, both speed and great route running. His head coach, Flea Harrell, told us this week they rely a lot on the junior. McGee is going to keep it himself. A design run to the right side. He's looking at the chains. It's going to be a pickup of 8, pushed out of bounds, just short of the first down.
You talked about his ability to be a dual threat quarterback. You spread teams out. You're spreading out Morehouse's defense now. Just a quick design run. No one accounted for the quarterback in that shotgun formation. Nice run.
Thurston was the one that pushed him out. This is going to be the handoff to Friedman, right side. Breaks a couple of tackles down to the 5 and a first down. 1st and goal for Howard.
You gotta love a running back who follows his horses, and what I mean by that, look at the blocks. Look at the ability to get up to that second level. Nice job of just being patient to the hole, allow the blocks to set up, and then accelerate through the hole. Big time play.
The throw to the end zone, and it's broken up. Flagged out on the play. It was Joshua Thurston from Morehouse on the coverage.
Can we just say that the snap count is a weapon?
Offside. Defense 45. Half the distance from the goal line. First down.
Lehman Williams, our head referee today, and Greg McGee with a nice job there with the snap count and pulling Morehouse offside.
I mean, that's what you want. You use a snap count as a weapon. You get some free yards. You get a little bit closer to the end zone. The veteran quarterback knows a little something about the hard count, as you would say.
Defensive end Joshua Burton was the one that jumped. So 1st and goal for Howard here at the 3. The handoff, left side. Hit hard and brought down. It's going to be a gain of 1 for William Parker. Stacked up there in the middle for Morehouse.
Yeah, anything you could do, we could do better. I think you saw the opening drive of the Maroon Tigers. I think the Bisons, via field position with the kickoff return, now they're trying to answer back.
Quickly to the line of scrimmage. McGee will take it himself and into the end zone. Touchdown, Howard.
Yes, that's what you're talking about.
Second rushing touchdown of the season for Greg McGee. 6'3", 210 pounds. He's a load to take down, and he got his momentum going. He got behind his big setter and found the end zone.
Well, here's what he did. Normally on a quarterback sneak, and the teams are anticipating it, they try to go ahead and anticipate the snap count, and then, of course, go ahead and jump in there and stuff your quarterback. Greg McGee snaps the ball, waited for the surge of his offensive line, then he went ahead and quarterback sneaked it. Very good job.
Give credit to Reyes and Lewis and Rutledge, the big fellas up front, opening up the big hole. The extra point is good from John Fleck, and Howard is answered. With the extra point, they take the lead, 7-6.
Yeah, that was just a good surge. You're talking about the Maroon Tigers defensive front has to be able to kind of stop that surge, but when your helmet, that white helmet of the Maroon Tiger is higher than the white helmet of the Bison, that means the low man's going to win. In that particular case, you're talking about the Bison scoring a touchdown just because of the physicality of their offensive line.
5 plays, 41 yards, a minute 32. That's all it took for the Howard Bison to come back down the field and answer the Morehouse touchdown. 7-6. Howard with the extra point take the lead here with 8:14 left in the first quarter.
Yeah, we told you got to buckle up and hold on, and Brent, we're not disappointed by either team, and that play or that drive, that 41-yard drive was set up by a great kickoff return. I said special teams will play a role in this game, and right away we're seeing special teams play a valuable role as far as field positioning, given a short field for that Bison offense to work.
Howard very physical on that last drive. Of course, Howard is a FCS team, playing a Division II team in Morehouse. But again, the last couple of years, you would not have known that on the field, Q, because these matchups have been just that close. Back to receive the kick. Inside the 5 is going to be Cameron Fields. Takes it right and pushed out of bounds right at the 15-yard line.
A little miscommunication maybe. I think Cameron Fields is saying, listen, I'm going to catch this ball regardless, and I'm going to go ahead and take it to the house, and I think that's what we saw
Cameron
right
Fields
there.
and Emmanuel Park seem to get the communication mixed up a bit, both trying to field that kick, and it certainly hurt them on the return, 13 yards. It's going to be 1st and 10 at the 15. So here comes Monquavius Johnson, who guided the Maroon Tigers down for a touchdown on their opening drive. Handoff is to Hamilton, and that is stacked up right at the line of scrimmage. The Bison read that one right from the snap.
Yeah, in previous years, we've seen this Maroon Tiger offense be more traditional under center, but I think they're trying to use the assets of Monquavius to their advantage. Go ahead, put him in a shotgun, put him in the gun, or the pistol rather. Allow Sheldon Hamilton to be on his side, do a little read option, and whether or not this is successful against the Bison on this drive remains to be seen, but Leon Murray has them, their offensive coordinator has them on all cylinders right now.
Split backfield, the throw quickly out into the flat to late McGuffey. It's going to be a pickup of 5 yards. We'll call it 6, and it's going to bring up a 3rd and 4.
Yeah, this is what we're talking about. You know, go ahead, get the ball out of your hands, get it to McGuffey. Nice, again, accurate throw. That's what you need to move into a manageable 3rd down.
3rd and 4. Inside handoff, and nothing doing on that one.
That was a stout defensive performance right there. Holy wow. Ibrahima Kibi, just see where he's just split 2 guys. I mean, that's just amazing. When you're getting double teamed, to be able to split a double team and get in on the tackle, that's very impressive.
Kibi, the redshirt senior at 6'3", 300 pounds. Right here out of Washington, D.C. The big fella stuffing the run. Here's the kick. Not a very good one. It's going to take a bounce, and Morehouse is going to down it on their side of the field, right at the 49. So again, Howard is going to have good field position on the Morehouse side of the field. The last time Howard had the football, they scored a touchdown. It's 7-6.
On the sideline, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Everybody knows that.
Well, did you know that words really can hurt you?
Today's game brought to you by Pepsi. Live for now. And welcome back to RFK Stadium in the nation's capital. Howard Bison and Morehouse Maroon Tigers at 7-6 here in the first quarter. That was just a 28-yard punt for Timoteo Aguro. And that gives Howard great field position. They'll start this drive at the 48-yard line. And it's Greg McGee who had the last possession for the Bison on the quarterback keeper for the touchdown. That's where we are at 7-6. McGee calls his own number on the option play and nowhere to go. No gain. Stacked up right at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, I kind of am wondering why he would go from being under center to going ahead back into the gun. There was a 7-8 man front, and they knew it was about selling out for the run. If you had to do it again, I think he would have changed that play to either a pass or give it to his running back.
McGee again. It's going to be a pickup of 3. It's going to set up a 3rd and long.
They're playing man-to-man on the outside, and they're saying, look, we know that you are a dual threat, but we're going to make you run the ball, or we're going to make you, throw or dare you to throw and stuff you as far as our defensive front getting to you, stopping the run.
3rd and 7, 4 wide receiver set, 3 out to the right, and that's where McGee goes, but he's going to bounce it to his wide receiver, Tavius Brown, and that's going to bring out the punt unit for the Bison.
And that's exactly what they were looking for. Go ahead. Defensively, I thought that the Maroon Tigers were saying to themselves, look, if we can go ahead, stack the box, dare him to throw the football, but at the same time stuff the run, don't give him any room to operate, we're going to get the ball back, and sure enough, here comes the punt team.
John Fleck is out, averaging 41.5 yards a punt this season. He was the MEAC Special Teams Player of the Week last week, the junior. It's a good punt, fair catch there at the 12-yard line as Thurston brings it in, and that's where the Maroon Tigers will take over. Certainly a lot of history in this matchup between these two great universities and institutions, and some fun, fast facts on Morehouse, an all-male liberal arts school, Atlanta, Georgia. Of course, they're in the SIAC, the Southern Intercollegiate Athletic Conference, Division II. Back on the field, Monquavius Johnson. Off to a good start, 3 of 4 passing the football. And if you think about last week, he was just 5 of 12. Really struggled throwing the football, but today really looking confident under center. And that's another completion.
Well, I think part of playing a quarterback position is about your footwork and making sure that it is in a position where you're throwing the football. It starts from the bottom up. I see right now he is very settled in the pocket. There's not a lot of pass rush on him, and therefore he's throwing very accurately out to his receivers.
Certainly gaining confidence, 4 or 5 here in the first quarter. It's 4 wide receivers, 3 out to the right. He didn't like what he saw, so he's going to run the football. And just across the first down marker, it's going to be a pickup of 7, and that's going to move the chains for the Tigers.
Yeah, no pressure. No pressure on him. He's able to sit back and scan the defense and see what he likes or doesn't like. In this particular case, he saw his receivers on the outside, hooked up on some short hitch routes, and therefore he was like, all right, let me go ahead and tuck it and run.
Johnson had 6 runs for 31 yards a week ago in their win. Handoff, and the ball is loose. Fumbled by Hamilton. Dewey was there, causing the fumble. And Hamilton lucky to fall back on it.
Yeah, we are looking at a scenario where you're in the gun. I think at the same time, he didn't really get a clean look at that ball, and that was just a good defensive effort. That was impressive. Every time you get a chance to punch the ball out of your hands, that's where Price comes in and just goes ahead and makes a good play.
A heads-up play by the redshirt sophomore from Duncanville, Texas, Dewey. 2nd and 11. Slings it in and out of the hands of Lake McGuffey. It was a little sidearm throw from Johnson, but McGuffey couldn't hold on. Kerry Brown was there with the coverage.
Yeah, you know, McGuffey, I think sometimes when you're running through a zone, the quarterback is expecting to kind of settle down in that zone. Don't just run through. If it was man-to-man, keep running. But if it's not, settle down. Allow him to make you look good by giving you a nice, easy catch. Don't make it harder than what it needs to be.
The field conditions so far this afternoon holding up. We had a good amount of rain a few hours before kickoff today, but that cleared. Wide open and complete to Malik Johnson. Nice pickup, just short of the first down. He's going to be about 2 yards short.
That's a good play call.
It's going to be 4th and 2. Maybe decision time, but they are on their own side of the field, and they're going to bring out the punt unit.
Well, this is a good play call. Malik Johnson, you just see where he just slips away from the defense and goes ahead and runs north and south. Nice screen call by Leon Murray. I think Leon Murray, the offensive coordinator for the Maroon Tigers, he's doing a really good job of pacing the game. Now it's about executing. If you're calling plays you know are going to work, your players have to go out and execute.
They would have a play clock violation. It's going to bring the football back to Morehouse.
Timeout. Morehouse College, this is their second timeout.
They got the timeout cue just before the clock hit 0. Yep. So timeout to save the penalty. With head coach Rich Friedman still not very happy.
Yeah,
it's sort of been a theme on that side of the field, on that sideline throughout the first quarter.
Coach Free's intense now. Come on. Saying situational football. Look, my guys are setting up, ready to go, and you guys got to go ahead and reset the play clock. I'm sure he's arguing that point.
Well, Free was very clear this week when you're playing an FCS team. Really, his kids feel like they have something to prove. They play with a lot less scholarships, 25 less scholarships than what you have on the sideline for Howard. And so, you come in, you're a little smaller. Maybe these guys weren't recruited by the Division I schools. And they feel like this is their one game where they can come out and prove that they belong.
So far, judging by the score, judging by what we've seen as far as offensively, defensively, and special teams, they absolutely belong.
And it's going to be a fake kick and a first down. Aguro on the left side breaking a couple of tackles. The junior out of Fort Worth, Texas. His first punt went only 28 yards, so I think Coach Free felt like we don't have much of a punting game. Let's go ahead and sneak it, and it caught Howard off guard.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think this was a good use of the timeout. Awesome job of running north and south and getting downhill once you get to the outside. Look at those great blocks.
Well, there's a flag on the field, and the referee's now convening there at the 40-yard line, and we'll see which way this flag goes. A very pivotal moment here early in this game. Fake punt and a possible first down. Let's see what the call is.
We had a running play. It was not a kicking play. First down.
So it is a first down.
Haha, Coach Freeman is realizing, listen, the last few years, we've been able to establish a level of momentum only to see the Bisons get it and get it back and win the game. We have to do whatever is necessary to win this ball game. Feels comfortable, confident in his ball club. Now, that fake punt, that kind of even gives him a little bit more swagger as Monquavius has the ball and they're about to go ahead and drive down into the Bison territory.
So at the 45-yard line, a fresh set of downs. And the handoff to Hamilton, a strong run up the middle. It's going to be a pickup of 2. And as you just mentioned, taking a look at this series history, boy, a couple of really close games back in 11 and 12. It was a 30-27 and a 30-29 victory for Howard, both coming late. Last year, McGee had 3 touchdowns in that contest. Howard ended up pulling away 27-16. They've won the last 3 of these 4. And as we were told, this could be the last, certainly the last of the AT&T Nations Football Classic that these two will play. And not sure if they'll get together again in the future. And both coaches this week talking about closing this series with a positive. And that would, of course, be a win. But it has been a great rivalry that's dated all the way back to 1923.
Well, let me even tell you this. When you look at this game and, you talk about one team, in particular Howard, having the superior numbers and such, Morehouse, in this 3-game span, they have outgained Howard. They have done a tremendous job of running the football effectively against Howard. They've just had some bad fortune as far as stopping them in the fourth quarter and Howard making the necessary plays to win ball games.
3rd and 8. Johnson back, and he is drilled and taken down. Quickly into the backfield is Kyrie Brown, the senior linebacker, on a all-out blitz.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about, the ability to make plays. And Kyrie Brown, you can see right there, number 92 is trying to block him. There was a free blitz. That was just a nice, good key blitz. Talking Kyrie Brown just doing a tremendous job of getting into the backfield.
It's a loss of 9 on the play, so the Tigers bring out the punt team. Of course, the last time they were on the field, we saw a fake where Aguro ran for the first down. This is 4th and about 15 And not a very good punt for Aguro. It does take a Tigers bounce. It's going to finally settle right at the 26-yard line. And that brings the first quarter to a close. And it's been an entertaining opening. Frame 7-6. Howard with the lead. Back at RFK Stadium, Howard Bison with a 1-point lead as we head into the second quarter at 7-6. A pair of touchdowns in the first quarter. Quavius Johnson had the touchdown throw to open the scoring, and then it was Greg McGee coming back with a 1-yard touchdown run, and that's where we stand. Howard with the football and 1st and 10 from the 26. The run is stacked up. It's going to be a gain of about 1 on the play.
I think it's safe to say that the Maroon Bison or the Maroon Tigers are taking it to the Bison. What a good just opportunity to get hats to the ball, rally to the ball. A lot of hard hitting out there today.
Austin Benton was the first one there, the sophomore from Morehouse. It'll be a 2nd down and 7. Quick throw, McGee, and it's complete to William Parker, who's going to pick up about 8. It's going to be a 1st down for Howard.
He's their big back. He's the guy that they like to get the ball out to, and he's a really strong, just punishing run. They had a little bunch formation, a little misdirection, kind of thought the play was going to go out to the 3-receiver side, but then he just goes ahead, throws it to check down to William Parker, and he moves the chains.
And Parker is certainly the big back, the guy that they look to get some of those really tough physical yards. Here's McGee over the middle and complete. A big pickup for the Bison. And his strike is good to Robert Mercer, the redshirt sophomore.
Watch this throw. Set up in the pocket, scan it, bam, laser right down the middle of the football field. That's a good timing route. Great anticipation by McGee.
Mercer is said to be the fastest guy on this Howard Bison team. He's a track star, playing his first year of football. McGee takes it himself up the middle. Huge hole. Avoids a tackle. Falls across the 25-yard line. And another Howard 1st down, taken down by Demario Dixon.
And you can obviously see where Ted White, the offensive coordinator for Howard, where they're going with it. Go ahead, spread things out. Mix in a little run early, but now allow McGee to throw the football. And once that happens, the defense loosens us up a little bit, and now you have your quarterback draw.
It's 14 yards on that run. The throw, and just short of his tight end. The intended target with Justin Cheney, freshman, but the throw is just short.
Yeah, this is a tough one. You know, you absolutely are trying to, have the strong play action and get the ball out. I don't know if he was able to really set his feet and make a strong throw, but definitely one he wishes he had back.
2nd and 10 for Howard. The handoff, right side. Parker is going to pick up a couple. It's going to set up a 3rd and 6 now for Howard. Clarence Christian was there on the stop. Four wide receiver set. Freeman in the backfield. McGee, the lefty. Completion. 1st down. Matt Colvin, where he had eyes on the end zone and was just brought down from behind. A big 1st down for the Bison.
Yeah, again, nice opportunity to get the ball out of your hands. I tell you what, I really like the job of this drive of what McGee is doing. Throwing the ball accurately, an outstanding job of getting it back to Colvin. Colvin sensing north and south, getting into the end zone. Coming up a little short, but we'll see him get into this end zone soon.
I formation for Howard. There's a flag in the backfield for the Maroon Tigers.
Defense, half the distance.
It'll be half the distance to the goal line against flag coming against Morehouse and the illegal substitution. Coach Free not happy with the mental mistakes.
I don't think there is a coach in America that would say they would be pleased with a mental error.
So it's 1st and goal from the 4-yard line.
It's one thing to be out physical, but there's another thing when you hurt yourself by having a mental error.
Branton in motion. The play fake to Freeman. Will throw into the end zone. Wide open. Touchdown, Howard. Justin Chaney pulled it in and somehow got wide open on that play.
Well, just the misdirection. I think anytime you have a play where you're going to go ahead with a strong play fake, all of the direction is going to the left of the screen, and then obviously you're having Chaney sneak out the backside. No one covers him. Nice, easy throw for the touchdown. Greg McGee on that drive, a lot of poise. Number one, throwing the ball accurately, good play design, but then also when he needed to run, as far as the quarterback sneak, he absolutely took advantage of that as well.
The extra point is good and barely. And how about the freshman Justin Chaney, his first collegiate touchdown, and it's got Howard up 14-6. Let's head down to the sideline and check in with Lou Holder. Lou?
Yeah, Brent, I'm here with Gail Johnson, the Executive Director of Human Resources for AT&T. And Gail, another great year of sponsorship with this Nations Classic.
Yeah, this is just one of the many things that we do to support our HBCUs and our broader community. We're happy to do it.
Obviously, when a company puts their brand to a sporting event, they're hoping for long-lasting, long-reaching impact. Are you seeing that with your AT&T connection to the Nations Classic?
Absolutely. It is about the community. It's about being present in the community, showing our support of the community, especially our Workforce 2020, which is sitting right out here for this audience. So, college kids with STEM background, we're looking for them to come to the workforce really quickly. We definitely see a return on this investment.
Gail, thank you for all you do. All right, that's Gail Johnson from AT&T doing another great work, another great year for AT&T as a sponsor of the Nations Classic. Back up to you.
Lou, thank you very much. We apologize for the technical difficulties. Of course, as we mentioned, it had rained for several hours leading up to the kick of this game, and certainly some of the electrical, maybe some issues down there on the sidelines, and we appreciate the report from Lou. And I saw Lou before the game, and of course it was pouring at that point, and we're wishing him luck. So, stay dry. If there's one person in this stadium right now who appreciates the fact that it has stopped raining, it's Lou Holder.
Well, there's one guy that I know that has not had issues, has been Greg McGee, and he's been very much as advertised. Outstanding pocket presence, been leading this team, had the quarterback sneak on the one drive and finishes off this drive to a nice throw to his tight end, Justin Chaney.
He's a two-time most valuable player in this game and already on his way maybe to a third, as he's got the Bison out to a quick start, and they lead at 14-6. And talking to the head coach, Flea Carroll, this week, he really emphasized that his Bison needed to get off to a quick start. They had in the first 2 games of the season, and really against Akron were completely overmatched in their opener. And then last week really bounced back nicely against Rutgers, but took back-to-back losses against 2 FBS teams to start the season, and it was really poor starts in both of those games that were their downfall.
Yeah, it's tough when you're going up against FBS opponents. Certainly you're FCS school, and you want to show that you can compete on that stage.
Offense, number 9, 5-yard penalty, second down.
Lake McGuffey flagged for the offsides. It's going to go back 5 yards.
Never, ever in the history of man should a receiver jump off sides. Just simply look at the ball. With the ball snap, you go. Simple. So simple.
It's true. I mean, as a wide
his seat on the sideline too.
As a wide receiver, you're away from the line of scrimmage, and you shouldn't really hear necessarily what the quarterback is calling. You need to keep your eye on the football. So right now, it's a 2nd down and 13 for the Tigers. Nice play out into the flat, the completion, and a lot of run after the catch. And the Maroon Tigers on the move. That was a big play and a completion to Cameron Fields.
Cameron Fields, the man just knows what to do. Had 173 all-purpose yards in their opener this year. And again, you're seeing his elusiveness in open space. Nice screen action, a little middle screen action. I think the Bison defense being suckered up by Johnson, and Johnson delivering it to Fields for a big gain.
Coach Free really liking Cameron Fields, a transfer out of Grand Valley State University. That's another completion, fighting for the first down, and finally pushed out of bounds. Justin Browning, the sophomore wide receiver, had a couple of catches last week.
Surprised they're going away from the running game. I know that Shelton Hamilton is their guy, their workhorse, but I am surprised. And you know, so far you see Johnson really being comfortable in the pocket. I like it. 7 of 10 for 76 yards and that TD. Says an awful lot about the young player.
8:50 left here in the second quarter. Already more completions this week than he did all of last week in their opener. Another completion out into the flat. Don Cox brings it in.
He's throwing strikes.
Another first down.
Just throwing strike after strike after strike. Very, very on point with the ball, knowing where he wants to go, reading the defense. I like his game. He's just, wow. A lot of players, sometimes when you're playing up against another quarterback, you tend to press and try to do too much, but he's playing within the framework of the offense and executing it very well.
There's Kenneth Russ there on the defensive stop. The 4 wide receiver set now for Johnson in the shotgun. Throws it right flat. It was Cox again, breaking a tackle and falling forward for a gain of a couple. Tommy Boozer was there. Boy, I tell you, Quavius Johnson really got thrown into the starting job last year as a freshman. And maybe that has helped him a bit, a chance to mature and get some playing action, but only a sophomore, and today really showing great accuracy for the youngster. 2nd and 8, straight up the middle on the run.
Make no mistake about it, he has a lot of dual threat capabilities as well. But I also see how comfortable Coach Freeman is with having him throw it from the pocket. Now, they've not taken any shots down the football field. They've been able to run a lot of intermediate routes. They've been able to get the ball out of his hands really quickly as far as to his backs and as well as his receivers on little bubble screens. But at some point in time, he's going to have to take a shot down the football field.
3rd and 4 for the Tigers. Jumping up front, flag on the play. Johnson taken down deep in the backfield, but let's see what the flag is.
I think that's going to be encroachment.
Offside defense, number 56. And because of the yardage gained from the penalty, we have a first down.
It's Kebe who was flagged, the redshirt senior, jumping off sides. You can see it on the right side of your screen.
That's just really good usage of the hard count. You can see where the voice inflection causes the senior to go ahead and jump off sides.
First down for the Tigers. Both teams this afternoon moving the football well. There are whistles on the play. The play was dead. Howard wanted to fumble and return, but there were plenty of whistles on the field that stopped it.
I think Kenneth Russ is saying, wait a minute, we might have a little instant replay action here. I better go ahead and take it into the end zone. Of course, there's no replay in this game, but
2nd down.
So it'll be 2nd down. I see that Nicholas Baker was down before the ball came loose.
I guess they were saying forward progress was stopped, but
there were definitely whistles, I think, before the fumble, but as you can see in the replay, wasn't quite down yet. But certainly, once the whistle is blown, the play is dead,
sure.
And it can't be a fumble.
Yeah, that was one where I think for Baker, he wasn't a stalemate. He was continually moving forward. You got to let the guys play. That was a good strip of the ball.
Johnson back, looks left, then back right, fires and complete. Justin Browning on the reception, and another first down for the Maroon Tigers.
Coming into this game, this receiving core was a young receiving core, not a lot of stats to speak of. Justin Browning with only 2 catches. That catch right there, boy, extremely difficult, tight coverage, way to concentrate and bring it in.
Well, Johnson only had 5 completions in their opening win last week. This is the throw into the flat at Shelton. He's tripped up after a gain of 3. Devin Rollins was there on the tackle. The Bisons' leading tackler so far this season, junior out of Miami, Florida.
This is a hurry-up offense. They are going to set up, spread you out, and then they're going to get the play from the sideline. At the same time, I think that methodical, kind of wear you down offensive play style, at some point in time, you got to take a shot into the end zone if you're Morehouse.
2nd and 7. Johnson rolls out wide open, and a completion inside the 15 down to the 13. Hook it up with Lance McGuffey, the brother and a sophomore of Lake McGuffey. His first catch of the season.
Yeah, this is a good job of Johnson, really just getting out of trouble, making something out of nothing. And Lance McGuffey did a good job of a run after catch and getting up into the red zone.
14 yards on that last completion for Johnson. In the pistol, the handoff is going to be to Baker, right side, and tripped up. No gain on that one.
As much as we've been talking about McGee on the other side, you got to give a love to Johnson. Only 3 incompletions, and has been very efficient with the football. Not a lot of shots down the football field, therefore it's only 90 yards, but still very effective on this drive.
2nd and 10. Again, no huddle. They'll get the calls from the sideline, and then Johnson will bark out the play. 3 wide receivers. This drive now over 7 minutes, and the give is to Fields, cuts back. A pickup of about 4 or 5, and that's going to set up a 3rd down. And what's also interesting, Q, is because they don't huddle, the Bison have not been able to do a lot of substituting. And we were told, Rayford Petty said that the strength of this team, the defensive coordinator, is on the defensive line, and a big part of it is depth. And if he can't get his guys on there and get the guys that are on the field a chance to rest, this Tigers offense is now starting to wear down the Bison.
Got to let your big boys get a little breather, get them some rehydration on the sideline and get back out there fresh. the no huddle limits that.
3 wide receivers to the end zone, and Johnson throws it out of the back of the end zone. It was Justin Browning was the intended target. Incomplete and a 4th down.
I'll take that incompletion, and here's why. You throw the fade up there. You felt pretty good about it, I'm sure, as far as the matchup was concerned, but he didn't really like the fact that he had great separation. Now it's all about if my guy gets it or no one gets it. Don't put it in a position where it can be intercepted. Let's get some points off of this drive.
Alexis Gonzalez, 27 yards out, and it's good. Alexis Gonzalez just joined the team a few weeks before the season started, and a big field goal. It's 14-9 Howard. Howard Bison, 14-9 lead here in Washington, D.C. It's the AT&T Nations Football Classic. Howard and Morehouse. Morehouse cashing in with a 27-yard field goal. 13-play, 66-yard drive. Boy, they ate up 8 minutes and 12 seconds, Q, on that last drive.
Yeah, very methodical. Didn't really take many shots down the football field, but very accurate with the football, getting into a lot of guys' hands. Marquavius Johnson, boy, he is putting on quite a show.
And that kick out of bounds, and we'll be back.
It's like there's a flag on the play for kicking it out of bounds. Now you have a decision to make as far as where you're going to have the placement of the ball or if they're going to re-kick it.
They do have the option. Either a re-kick or take the ball to 35.
The kicking team with a re-kick at the 5-yard penalty.
So they'll move Morehouse back 5 yards, and we'll re-kick it. It's Parker and Mercer are back deep to receive, and they're going to line up around the 20-yard line. chance to maybe get some real good field position.
Well, again, part of what got Howard off to such a fast start in the beginning of the game was the fact that they had a strong kickoff return by Parker. And that set up an easy scoring drive because it was a short field, nice 41-yard scoring drive. But let's see what happens now as far as Morehouse coming down and covering the kick.
As we said, Alexis Gonzalez only joining the team just before the season began, as the Maroon Tigers lost their kicker to academic ineligibility, and that's a pretty good kick all the way back to the 10, and brought out by Parker. A couple of blocks, and Parker down the right side. Flags are thrown. Parker continues, pushed out of bounds inside the 20 at the 15, but hold on. Let's see what the flag is. Could have been holding down the right side.
Well, let's just say for a fact it was holding, because you see two Bisons. They are literally just grabbing the jersey of one of the guys from Morehouse.
Well, Parker saw daylight and brought it down the right side.
Holding. Receiving team 58, 10 yards from the spot of the foul. First down.
So they'll mark off 10 yards after that long return by Parker is nullified. We're back in the nation's capital. Ian Parker had the long return on the kick, but it's going to be nullified. Look right there.
That's not
45.
holding, that's tackling.
That's a tackle. Austin Orr is one of the guys there for the Bison, and you can see the flag being thrown in, and that's going to be brought back. Let's head down to the sidelines and check in with Lou Holder. Lou?
Yes, Brent, I have the presidents of the two schools, John Wilson from Morehouse University and Wayne Frederick from Howard University, stopping by to talk about this AT&T Nations Classic. First with you, Mr. Wilson. I mean, you've been here for all 4 years of the Classic. How has this game affected your university?
It has affected Morehouse College in two ways. It's a celebration for us. First, athletically, we enjoy making this trip. It's been a competitive game every year, and I think it's competitive right now. But also academically, we get a chance to debate Howard. I get a chance to connect with the Howard president and build some relationships. So we always enjoy the game, even though we have to travel every year.
Right. And speaking of that, hosting it, there's a different level of responsibility hosting it. I mean, it's been fabulous for 4 years. Just talk about the effect it's had on campus, how kids are talking about it, how it's just become ingrained into the student body.
Yeah, most definitely. The students are up for it, as you can see and hear in the crowd. The players are up for it. Our rivalry in Morehouse goes back, I believe, to the 1920s when we first started playing football. So it's a very important game for us, and it also gets to showcase two institutions which are certainly the nation's treasures. And so we are happy to host that. We try to be good hosts as well, because we want to make sure we send them back on the losing side of the...
Any trash talking that goes on, because he hasn't won yet.
well, let me say this. He's not going to win.
Hey, it's not over. It's not over.
There you have it. There's trash talking between presidents, Brent. Back up to you.
Oh, man, at 14 tonight, it is far from over. 2:13 left here in the second quarter, and a lot of football left here at RFK Stadium. 2nd and 5. It was an offsides by Morehouse. That completion to Colvin is going to be enough for a first down. And a little bit of extracurricular activities, and a couple of flags come flying in. Boy, the two teams getting tangled up there.
Yeah, this is a big game, and guys get a little chippy. They recognize, look, we're trying to go ahead and win this, and we're feeling pretty confident about ourselves. If you're Morehouse, and I'm sure Howard is saying to themselves, look, we're not going to be out physical by you.
Pretty rough takedown. Austin Benton, the sophomore from Morehouse. A couple of shoves and a few words exchanged after that one.
The roughness, number 18 on the offense. It's going to be a 15-yard penalty, but the first down was gained prior to the penalty. First down, offense.
So that penalty, the personal foul, is going to go against Howard. They're going to march off 15. The They'll settle in at the 28-yard line. First down and 15. It's going to be a first down and 10 as they move the chains back as well. The penalty was called on Stuart Hartman for Howard.
Senior, you should know better.
First and 10 at the 28. McGee into the flat. A lot of running room. Freeman still on his feet all the way out to midfield. Aquanius Freeman.
This is just a tremendous effort by Aquanius. You could just see where, you know, it's a little bubble route for him. And at the same time, now this is just great individual effort of making a big play down the football field.
The whistles blew that one dead. Timeout. Morehouse, 1:30 left here in the second quarter. Plenty of time on the clock, Q.
There is, absolutely. You're trying to execute your 2-minute offense, and what better to have under center than a senior quarterback in Greg McGee. I know Coach Freeman is sitting there saying, okay, look, we need to be aggressive. We need to go ahead and get after the quarterback. Don't allow McGee to sit back in the pocket and pick us apart.
The 2 touchdowns led by quarterback Greg McGee. The first one, 5-play, 41-yard drive, was capped with a 1-yard touchdown run from the senior quarterback. And then McGee up top and hitting Justin Chaney as tight end. That was an 8-play drive. 4-yard touchdown to Chaney. And that's where we stand at 14-9, the Howard Bison. And you know things are serious on the sidelines when the bands are getting ready. When you have to stretch to get ready to take the field, you know it's going to be a serious time for this Howard Bison band.
Always the battle of the bands. Love it, love it.
McGee drops back straight to Freeman, looking for blockers, breaks a tackle, hurdles another tackler, a first down. It's going to be a pickup of 13. Aquanius Freeman, the redshirt junior out of New Orleans, with a beautiful run and a first down. The clock stops as they move the chains. 1:19 left here in the half.
Yeah, this is a good drive.
Over the middle and broke it up. Emmanuel Parks was there for the Tigers.
I tell you what, that was a laser. You would have loved to have seen that be completed, but boy, he stepped back in the pocket. McGee just zinged it right down the middle of the football field.
9 of 14, 103 yards in the touchdown. Go along with his 26 yards on the ground. We talked about the dual threat capabilities on the open for Greg McGee. Big left-hander. Motion. McGee's looking right. Into the flat, complete to Aigoro, the senior out of Greenbelt, Maryland.
Aigoro, that play was designed to go with a strong run after catch or get out of bounds. He did neither. He fell to the ground, and now you got to burn a timeout if you're Howard. That's disappointing.
It took about 5 or 6 seconds before Coach Harrell decided to call the timeout, so ticking all the way down to 54 left here in the second quarter. So coming up at half, we'll keep it right here for all the pageantry of the AT&T Nations Football Classic, including performances by both Morehouse and Howard's bands, plus our first half analysis. So please keep it right here as we continue with all the festivities of the AT&T Nations Football Classic. Howard looking for their first win of the season. 0-2 after starting with back-to-back games against FBS schools, losing 41-0 to Akron. But last week against Rutgers really played a pretty good football game. They lost 38-25. They jumped out to a 7-0 lead in that game.
They ran the football very well in that game.
269 rushing yards last week against Rutgers. 437 total. McGee back to pass. The throw over the middle. It's going to be a short pickup. Stuart Hartman. Excuse me, Robert Mercer on the business end of that completion.
Yeah,
the clock continues to run.
I'm about to say, it looks like they're going to go for it on 4th down, too.
4th and 4. Still 2 timeouts left for Howard.
Free play.
Another jump off sides by the Tigers.
That's the hard key.
And that's going to give you a first down. That is a big mental mistake by Morehouse.
Boy, that is something that you just cannot afford to do.
Brandon Key was the kid that jumped off sides, a sophomore out of Nashville.
Key did not read his keys on that.
So it's going to be a first down to the 26-yard line. Fresh set of downs, 21 seconds left here in the second quarter, and Key is getting an earful from his head coach.
Mental errors, mental mistakes you cannot happen.
McGee rolls left and throws into the end zone and just overthrows Mercer, and it looked like Mercer had a step.
Yeah, I think on that was a high flag route, you call it. You want to get to the back pylon of the end zone, and I just thought McGee rolling out, he wanted his receiver to take a higher angle. Go towards that back pylon. You can see where he's trying to flatten it out a little bit. And you kind of decelerate once you start flattening it out, and narrow, you have the incompletion.
4 wide receiver set, 3 flanked to McGee's left. 8 plays so far, 42 yards on this drive, just over 2 minutes. McGee feeling pressure on the blitz, just throws it up. Aiguro, the intended target, and it falls incomplete with 6 seconds left here in the half.
Well, we talked about having to make a play, and Clarence Christian made a play. Pressure on the quarterback. McGee was trying to sit back in the pocket and deliver it down the football field, down the middle of the football field, but awesome opportunity to be disrupted by Clarence Christian. Boy, he made him hurry up his throw. Excellent job of going ahead and causing the incompletion.
Christian, a third-team All-American last year, first-team All-MEAC going into this season. But last year, a monster year from his defensive end spot, 56 tackles, 9.5 of those for loss and 3 sacks. And you could see coming up at a time they really needed a play with Howard driving, putting the pressure on McGee to have to throw that football away.
Yeah, and that's something that Coach Freeman talked about, is getting pressure on McGee. Don't allow him to be comfortable in the pocket, and that's important when you're talking about, your playmakers, your big-time players having to step up. Well, Clarence Christian is that guy for your ball club to go ahead and make some strong plays. He made one there.
Greg McGee, a lot of senior leadership, 4-year starter, only quarterback in FBS with over 1,800 rushing yards and 5,500 passing yards. We talked about him being a dual-threat quarterback, and he's closing in on the all-time MEAC record in total offense. By the way, the guy that holds that record is Ted White, who is the offensive coordinator for the Howard Bison, who had a tremendous career. He was the 1996 Black College Player of the Year, first-team All-American Division I AA.
You're going to learn an awful lot from Ted, understanding how to get it done.
43-yard field goal attempt here for John Fleck. The hold is down and the kick is up, and it's no good. Wide right for John Fleck. So the first half comes to a close with a missed field goal. Howard with a couple of touchdowns. Greg McGee ran one, and he threw one. A 14-9 lead here at the break.
I think this is one of those halves where you felt pretty confident. If you're Morehouse, you move the football down the football field. You're a little frustrated that you don't have more points up on the board. But Howard, boy, you got to be disappointed in not getting some points out of that last drive.
Let's head down to the sidelines and check in with Lou.
Yeah. Hey, Brent, I'm here with Coach Freeman. Just tell me about the first half, your assessment of the first half and your team.
Well, all we asked our kids to do was just to come out and play very tough, offense, defense, and kicking, and not do anything to self-inflict Unfortunately, we did that. We had a bad kickoff, a couple of bad kickoffs, and they kind of took momentum away from us. But that was big for us to kind of swing momentum back and stop the field goal, stop a goal line drive. So hopefully we can build off of that and have a better second half.
Yeah, although it's upsetting to you that you leave certain plays on the field, you know, the fact that you are encouraged about what your team is doing, is that kind of what you say to them at halftime, that, look, I know we haven't won here in this classic, but those years don't matter. It's this year and, you know, this second half.
Well, you know, we're always the underdog. You know, we're playing, and our kids know, everybody know we're playing against a well-resourced team. But that doesn't mean anything because they got to play with 11 just like we have to play with 11. And we're going to come out and play fast, hard, and smart and see what's happening in the second half.
Thanks a lot, Coach. All right, Brent, back up to you.
Thank you, Lou. Howard ending that half, a 10-play drive, 42 yards, but can't come away with any points. They do have the lead. It's 14-9. Here at halftime in the nation's capital, it is the AT&T Nations Football Classic, and halftime festivities are straight ahead.
Welcome back to halftime at the AT&T Nations Classic. It is showtime now, people. Howard University Showtime Marching Band under the direction of John E. Newsom Sr.
Howard University proudly is the pride of the nation's capital. The band that is often imitated but never duplicated, and is still considered the class of the Mid-Eastern Athletic Conference, the Showtime Marching Band. Sit back, relax, and allow us to entertain you. Please turn your radio to stations of HUMB, bound for Showtime. We are about to take control of the airwaves. The party down here. Let's give a big round of applause to the organizers of the AT&T Nations Classic. Come on, put your hands together.
You're watching the Howard University Showtime Marching Band. When we come back, Rent and Kadri will have first half highlights and analysis. You're watching the AT&T Nations Classic.
So what we're...
Today's game is being brought to you by AT&T, mobilizing your world. We hope you're enjoying the halftime festivities here at RFK Stadium as part of this AT&T Nations Football Classic. The Howard Bison with a 14-9 lead here at the break. Brett Harris alongside Kadri Ismail in the first half. Very entertaining, very even between these two schools, and we saw a lot of offense.
We did. I think both sides of the ball have moved the football extremely well down the football field. Neither defense really has gotten a handle on how to stop, whether it be the Bisons or whether it be the Tigers. I think both teams' quarterback play has been high quality. Both guys are getting the ball out to their receivers, and everyone seems to be making some plays. This is an exciting first half. Let's see how this second half unfolds.
Well, let's see how the first half unfolded. We'll take a look at the highlights from that first half, and they're brought to you by Centrix. And the scoring got started with Morehouse, a nice touchdown strike from Monquavius Johnson to Lake McGuffey, 16 yards on the score. But then it was the Bison that answered, led by their quarterback in Greg McGee.
Yeah, well, that's what you need. You need your playmakers to step back up. There was a great kickoff return to set up a short field, and you just saw the way he was able to get it into the end zone. But then, of course, you saw the nice drive again to Chaney for the touchdown in the back of the end zone.
Well, Howard would add the field goal by Morehouse, and it's 14-9. That's where we stand in these halftime statistics brought to you by Centrix. Really very even as far as total yards, but the time of possession, Q, I think is the one thing that jumps out. And the Maroon Tigers did a great job. They had a couple of long drives, and really sustaining drives and holding onto the football was key.
I will say this, we have seen this in the past classics where they've had time of possession, they've outgained the Bison, but ultimately it comes down to making the big plays. Can they make the necessary big plays to win this ball game?
Howard has the lead at 14-9. Can the Morehouse Maroon Tigers answer? Second half coming up.
15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Everybody knows that.
Well, did you know that?
Today's game is being brought to you by Pepsi. Live for now. Back at RFK Stadium for the AT&T Nations Football Classic in Q. Let's take a look at some of the keys here for the second half, and these are presented by DC Lottery.
Yeah, for Morehouse to win a game, obviously they've done a good job, but they need to continue to pressure McGee. There have been times when he's been able to drive down the football field with minimal amount of pressure. And then Howard, it's about finishing the drive. I think that they have left some points out there on the football field. They've been productive as far as moving it, but once they've gotten into the red zone, they haven't finished the drive, and I think that's really important for both squads.
And Q, you made a great point at halftime that in these previous matchups, Morehouse has actually outgained and held the ball longer than the Howard Bison, but it was Howard that made the play at the end of the games in the fourth quarter that made the difference over the last three of this series. And this is the way it looks. It's going to come down to the third and fourth quarter. This game will be decided by maybe a big play here in the second half.
Monquavius Johnson has done a remarkable job of getting the ball out accurately. He's been poised in the pocket, but he's yet to take a big shot down the football field, and that's something that they're going to have if they expect to beat Howard.
Cameron Fields and Emmanuel Parks are back for Morehouse. Kick is on its way, and it's fielded by Parks. Left side, one blocker, and then crushed out of bounds just short of the 25. Big hit right along the sideline, and you can see Parker looking for daylight, but nowhere to go. It was number 52, Ventura Scales.
Yeah, well, Parks, is an explosive returner, and that's one thing that they recognize. And sometimes when you have, big playmakers on the other team, it heightens your awareness as you're a coverage team. Now you're talking about a Howard team, trying to get some momentum. They're saying, look, if you're going to beat us, you're going to have to drive the length of the football field to go ahead and have that accomplished.
Coach Rich Freeman sending in the offensive plays. Short pass over the middle. Johnson complete. That's going to be a first down. Complete to Brandon Sarton, his first catch this afternoon. You look at the drive summaries, Morehouse in the first half. The touchdown and field goal between a couple of punts, but that long drive, 14 plays, and resulted in the 3 points, was big because they controlled the football. Johnson back, scrambling over the middle, nearly picked off. There wasn't a receiver in sight. It was Matthews there that nearly picked it off, the transfer from Old Dominion.
Well, that was really kind of the first mistake I've seen Marquavius make all day. He had his tight end running across on a shallow drag route, and he had his eyes up the football field. I'm not sure where he was going with the ball, but he should have just given it to his tight end and let him run with it.
2nd and 10 from the 37-yard line. He's going to keep it himself on the play fake. Run up the middle, a pickup of about 6 on the play. Brown was there on the stop.
This is the advantage of having a guy the likes of Hamilton in the backfield. There's so much attention put on him. Watch as he just goes ahead, takes a snap, and he's presenting the ball to him, but there is so much attention put on him. That allows for openings for him to run through. That time Johnson goes ahead now and puts it in the third manageable.
Remember last week, this Tigers team went for 266 rushing yards, so you would think it would be a big part of their game plan, but it's been a lot of play action today. Johnson back, flushed out of the pocket, and he's going to be taken down. It's a sack. Boy, a host of Bison were there. Afour get credit for the sack, the junior from Miami.
Well, this is called a coverage sack. He's going through his first read, second read, even got over to his third read. There was no one open. He didn't have a place to go with the football. And that's where the pressure comes in and collapses on the pocket, and he has to take a sack.
Tavius Brown is back for Howard, averaging 19 and a half a return. This is a the fumbled snap and a mental mistake. Aguro
just mishandles the snap.
Could not handle it.
That's just plain and simple. That's football 101. You gotta handle the snap. I mean, he made something out of nothing. We call don't make a bad play worse. He got something out of it. Clearly, though, you got to take care of the fundamentals. And now again, McGee and Howard has a short field to work with.
They've had a few now in this game. First 2 possessions started Morehouse's side of the football field. Aguro, by the way, earlier in this game ran for a first down, but he didn't look like there was a fleet of foot on that mishandling in the snap. McGee is going to roll to his left. And the left-hander pushed out of bounds near the line of scrimmage. Benton was there for Morehouse.
That was just smart play by the defense. He never got a chance to get to the edge. Never got a chance to really scan down the football field. They had a flood route. One guy going deep to the left side, another guy coming across intermediate to the left side of the football field. He never really was comfortable with that play.
Shotgun formation, play fake, nearly picked off after being batted at the line of scrimmage. Incomplete. It's going to bring up a third down.
Okay, Brent, I think what happened was this. They heard us talk about how bad both defenses were playing and how great both offenses were playing. And this opening drive, we're seeing both defenses really do a tremendous job of frustrating the quarterback. Again, you're trying to go ahead and get in the passing lane. That right there, my friend, was getting into the passing lane. That was Lance White with the knockdown of the ball.
McGee back, 3rd and short. He's going to scramble for the first down and much more. Left, breaks a tackle, down the left sideline. 10, 5, and thrown out of bounds at the 2-yard line. Greg McGee saw a lot of light in front of him, had the first down, breaks a tackle, and a huge pickup for the quarterback.
As soon as you think you have him, as soon as you think you've had a bead on the tempo of McGee and what he is trying to accomplish, that's when he breaks your heart. This is simple. There's no one down the football field, and he just goes ahead and tucks it and runs with it.
6'3", 210 pounds. McGee is a big guy to bring down, and you could see breaking tackles, nearly finding the end zone. Play fake up top, McGee. That one is dropped. Casey Brandt, the intended target. And that's going to bring up a 2nd and goal.
Yeah, you're looking at Emmanuel Parks kind of throwing his hands up in the air saying, guys, wait a minute. How did he get so wide open? I think there's some frustration there as far as the Maroon Tigers defense. They need to go ahead and have a little bit better communication.
Handoff left side. Short of the end zone. William Parker. He's the big back for Howard. 6 foot, 200 pounds, the junior. Just short of the goal line, and that's going to bring up a 3rd and goal for the 1.
This is where you have to score 7. Not try to get fancy with the spices, but you have to be physical at the point of attack. Howard has to get it into the end zone.
McGee calls his own number. Does he have enough? A late push, no signal yet. Both line judges come in. And it is a late call and a touchdown. Howard Bison. Greg McGee muscles the football across the goal line. And it took a little while to sort out. It's going to be a touchdown for the quarterback.
Well, that's strange because now you're also seeing Lance White with the ball in his hands. The official comes in late, but he probably felt he broke the plane of the goal line for the score. But that was, that was because of poor special teams play by Morehouse, and then that was just an excellent individual effort of McGee on the scramble to get him into the red zone.
The extra point from John Fleck is up, and it's good. 6-play, 43-yard drive, 3 minutes and 5 seconds, and Greg McGee has his 2nd rushing touchdown of the game. Back at RFK Stadium, the AT&T Nations Football Classic. Howard with a touchdown. It was Greg McGee on a 1-yard TD run, and the Bison lead at 21-9. Head down to the sidelines and check in with Lou Holder. Lou?
Yes, Brent. Howard has won all 3 of these games as we've been talking about throughout the broadcast. They've all been tight games. This one is 21-9. But, Kadri, I want to ask you, as somebody who's played football at the highest level, is there a psychological advantage that Howard has being at home all these years, but actually beating Morehouse every year? Because it seems just from the beginning that Howard, even the body language of the Howard players was like, you know, we got this, we got this. Is there some truth to that?
Lou, I think part of it is when you're having a team that has studs on it, the likes of McGee, and he's played in this game. He's had tremendous amount of success, 2-time MVP. Yeah, you absolutely know that if you take care of business, eventually the other team is going to fold. So there is some truth to that, but then at the same time, it can also work against you if you take them for granted. Right now, with a 21-9 lead, Howard over Morehouse, it seems as though Howard feels that they're in full command and they are not taking the Morehouse men for granted.
Morehouse will start in the 22-yard line after an 18-yard return by Parker. For wide receiver Seth Johnson fumbles the snap a bit, recovers, and then scrambles for a pickup of 4. And Q, a big part of the success so far for Howard today has been field position. All 3 of their touchdowns, they started with the football on Morehouse's side of the field. The short fields have turned into points. That's been the key.
14 in particular, because I know the opening kickoff return for the Bison, it worked in their favor. You get the score by McGee, and then here a muffed punt caused them to have another short field, and again, Howard takes advantage of it for a touchdown.
From behind and tracked down and dropped. It's Offer getting this sack on Johnson. It's going to bring up a 3rd and 6.
Boy, I tell you what, you talk about having a motor. The coaches love his effort. You can see where number 13 at the bottom of your screen is just going to chase down Marquavius. Marquavius having his eyes up the football field, but Offer is just saying to himself, oh, no, you don't. We shall hawk you down.
God's power Offer.
God's power.
God's power getting to Marquavius. Johnson throws this one up and looking for a flag, and who knows which way that flag's going to go because receiver and defensive back were tangled up pretty good. It was Sarton.
I can tell you
Russ
this right now. Sarton is saying that it was interference. Clearly, that was a late flag. It was an uncatchable ball.
Defense number 28. 10 yards from the previous spot. Because it's an eligible receiver, we're going to have an automatic first down.
So Kenneth Russ, the redshirt sophomore. What's interesting, though, it was the Bison side of the field, the coaches that were yelling for a flag. They felt like it should have been a flag against the offense.
Well, both guys are looking back for the football. You know, I think I think Sarton was trying to sell it because he ran a poor route. That was one of those calls where you just kind of shake your head at.
Back judge had a great view of it, and he wasn't the one that threw the penalty flag.
Side judge did, yep.
It's going to be a run pickup of 2.
The head linesman, he was the one who made that call, and I think that was an error on his part.
Rollins on the stop for the Bison. Boy, Baker, big fella, 6'1", 260 pounds. Talk about a fullback. And he'll get a handful of carries. He had 5 last week, and he already has a few here today. 2nd and 8. 2 in the backfield. Give to Hamilton. Could be a pickup of about 1. Actually, going to say he lost a few inches to move that back. So Malik Johnson on the kick.
Yeah, you know,
on the stop.
I think this 4-man front that Howard has, it's really tough going for the Maroon Tigers. They're struggling getting a push and allowing their backs to get to that second level. They're really struggling right now trying to get that run game going.
3rd and long, Johnson drops back, steps up into the pocket, rifles the throw and complete for a first down. It was Browning who pulls it in. And the chains are moved as Morehouse now crosses midfield into the Howard side of the field. And Q.
Here's one thing I will say. If you give a quarterback the likes of Marquavius time, he's going to make you pay. That was just, again, a laser right down the middle of the football field. Accurate throw on 3rd and long, and they move the chains. 17
yards on that last play. Johnson being tracked from behind, and he is taken down on the sack. Devin Rollins, the junior, his first sack of the season. 2nd down. It was a loss of 1. It's going to be 2nd and 11.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I think what we're seeing 6 guys dropping back into coverage, and I think Rayford Petty, the defensive coordinator, is comfortable with his rush on Johnson and allowing his guys just to play coverage on receivers.
Inside handoff, a gain of 2 from Malik Johnson. And Q, are you surprised? Shelton Hamilton in the opener had 24 carries for 140 yards. He only had 7 carries for 16 in the first half, and we haven't seen him yet here in the 3rd quarter.
Yeah, it is perplexing that you have such a stud runner in Hamilton, and you really aren't featuring him. But part of that is the fact that Howard is doing such an effective job of stopping the run, and I think that's one thing that's really evident tonight as Matthews there on that tackle, open field tackle.
3rd down play, there's a flag thrown.
All the way over.
Looked like it was Howard that jumped off sides.
They're trying to get Hamilton the ball right there, trying to give him an opportunity to get out in space with the pass.
5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
So they'll march off the 5 yards. It'll set up a 3rd and a couple. Keep your eye on the right side. Just the jump there from number 56, Keeby, redshirt senior. He's from Washington, D.C. I'm sure he has a lot of family and friends here today for this matchup.
A lot of tickets sold.
3rd and short. 4 wide receivers, 2 split to the left, 2 to the right. It's Johnson in the backfield. Little bump there, the receiver, no flag.
Wow. Now that should have been a flag.
DeAndre Price was in the coverage. Johnson was looking for Lake McGuffey. It looked like he was bumped pretty good there before the ball reached him, but no flag, and 4th down now. And decision time with the football at the 38-yard line. 4th and 2. If you're Coach Freeman, what are you doing here?
Well, clearly you're down 21-9. You still need some level of momentum. It's 4th and manageable. I mean, this is 4 down territory.
Quavius Johnson in shotgun. Malik Johnson to his right. They're going to throw the football, and an all-out blitz. And that falls incomplete, and Howard will take over on downs. 4:53 left here in the 3rd quarter. Howard leads 21-9. The Bison with a defensive stop. So today's game is brought to you by AT&T, mobilizing your world. It's a 21-9 lead for Howard here at RFK Stadium. Let's head down to the sidelines. And Lou Holden.
Thank you, sir. This game would not be possible if not for the efforts of this man, Greg Odell and his staff. Greg Odell, the president and CEO of Events DC. 4 years now for this thing, and it has grown to such a level. I mean, and you know it's good when the organizer is smiling and just having a good time watching the bands and everything like that. You're really enjoying how this thing has grown.
I am. You're absolutely right, Lou. And I got to say, first and foremost, we have a fantastic team. Eric Moses, who's led this effort from day one, has made this now the best event, for us in Washington, D.C. We're so excited. And then to have, 2 great teams in Morehouse and Howard playing every year, we couldn't be more pleased.
When you see this growing even more, because you got to think long term, what other things do you see coming of this Nations Classic?
So really, this is the foundation. We've done it so well. Every aspect of production has been tight now, so we're excited about that. So we really want to make sure we're just expanding the footprint, make sure that it's broader for Washington, D.C., and even driving more visitors to this great game.
When you talk to Morehouse and how they've come up here, what has been their type of feedback as far as coming up here for this Nations Classic?
So, they've been great partners, and they've really been excited about being in Washington, D.C., but also the fact that we're honoring their college as well, so we'll make sure there's equal billing for both teams, because really, at the end of the day, it's about the young men and women who support these colleges, then also the players on the field, and they are student athletes first.
Thank you so much, Greg Odell from Events DC, and on behalf of Kadri, Brent, and myself, thanks for the swag.
My pleasure. Anytime. We got plenty for you, my man.
All right, thanks. So back up to you guys.
Thank you, Lou. Looking good in the rain jacket, although the sun has come out here in the second half. Beautiful afternoon here in D.C. After that 14-yard pickup by Freeman, Freeman's going to take the pass from McGee. That's going to be a pickup of 9. So back-to-back plays to Aquatius Freeman. And the Bison are on the move. 2nd and short here coming up.
Yeah, this is all about getting off the football field, and if you're Morehouse, you're trying to stop the momentum of Howard and get the ball back, but Howard absolutely is determined to continue to put points up on the board.
Torrey Boyd, the right tackle, moved all the way to the left side, and we see why. The run goes left. Freeman's going to pick up the first down. Hamby was there for the stop for Morehouse, but when you see the big fella at 6'4", 315 go in motion from right tackle to left, it's a pretty good indication it might go that way.
Yeah, that overbalanced look, boy, I tell you what, that's tough. That's when you got the big beef on one side of the football field. You better make an adjustment.
First team All-MEAC, one of the best to ever play the line of scrimmage here for the Howard Bison. Handoff is to Freeman. Right side, pickup of 4. Brought down by Clarence Christian.
only called Clarence Christian's name once, and that was right before halftime when he pressured McGee, caused him to throw an incompletion. And thought we'd see him be a little bit more disruptive, but you give credit where credit's due, and that offensive line and the performance by Howard, offense as far as keeping the defense of Morehouse off balance has been really important and key today.
McGee looking into the end zone, nearly pulled in by Matt Colvin off his fingertips. Joshua Thurston was there on the coverage, but Colvin extending and laying out. The junior out of Greensboro, North Carolina, nearly brought that in.
Yeah, that would have been a highlight reel catch for sure. Just laying out. I kind of thought that there was a little bit of hand play before the ball got in the air, but letting the guys play, and so you just got to live with it, but that was good effort.
McGee wide open and complete to Robert Mercer. Inside the 20-yard line, and the Bison now in red zone territory.
Yeah, they're in red zone territory, and I think this guy, number 7, just get rid of the football very quickly. He's starting to get a feel of what the defense is doing, and he knows exactly where to go with the football.
McGee tucks and takes. Right side, breaks a tackle to the end zone. And it's a touchdown, Howard. Third rushing touchdown for Greg McGee on the afternoon.
Yeah, this young man, he's special. You compound things when you're not wrapping up and getting him down to begin with, but boy, again, I think this is just a designed run. You're just seeing an offensive lineman fire out, a hat on a hat as we like to call it, and good downfield blocking. And that's important. When you have, a big play, get to the third level, that secondary, you got to have good downfield blocking. Tavius Brown on that play, the freshman out of Miami, with a great strong block to allow his quarterback to get into the end zone.
Tavius Brown, 5 foot 8 inches, 175 pounds.
Yes, sir.
And he made a key block downfield. Coach told us this week he's a game-breaking type of wide receiver. In this case, he was a game-breaking blocker.
FBI, football intelligence, knowing the situation of the game and what you need to do as far as helping your quarterback get it into the end zone.
7 plays, 62 yards, 3 minutes, 3 seconds. And it is Greg McGee on his 3rd rushing touchdown today, a senior from Pittsburgh, having quite an afternoon. 3 rushing touchdowns, and also he has thrown one. There's an offsides there on the extra point, so they'll mark off the yardage and do it again. 17 yards to the end zone for Greg McGee.
That, my friend, could potentially be the dagger that Coach Freeman is hoping he can surgically remove, get some points up on the board, and make it a game going into the 4th quarter. We have seen it before.
It's been all Greg McGee here in the second half for Howard. The extra point from John Fleck is up, and it's good. 28-9. Howard has extended the lead here at the AT&T Nations Football Classic.
Just a methodical drive down the football field. And look at Greg McGee with 13 completions on the day, 132 yards, and again, another score. We're talking about an opportunity to extend the lead. You put it in your playmaker's hand and allow him to operate. He's doing that today.
2013 MEAC Player of the Year. He is the preseason Player of the Year pick again this year. And here's showing why. Because you have to both defend the arm, and then he has the ability to do this.
Absolutely. The dual threat aspect of his game. You can see where it was a design draw. Credit the offensive line firing off the football. And, of course, his ability to be elusive, to get into the secondary. We talked about it, Tavius Brown. Boy, oh boy, key block to allow his quarterback to get into the end zone.
Greg McGee continues to chip away at the all-time MEAC record for total yards. Going into this game, 2,628 yards away from the record. Return right, Cameron Fields takes it just short of the 30-yard line, and that is where Morehouse will take over.
I think he ran about 100 yards after starting it off to the left side of the football field, then of course cutting it back all the way on over. Here's the crazy thing about it. This team is predicated on the run, had 140 yards rushing from Hamilton last week, and only touching the ball, running the ball 7 times for 15 yards.
Hamilton last week had a pair of touchdowns. He had a 10-yard touchdown run and a 1-yard touchdown run. 140 yards total. He was averaging nearly 6 yards a carry. Drops back, and Johnson finding his target. It's going to be enough for a first down. Johnson connecting with his tight end, Kamar Smith, senior out of Windsor, Connecticut.
Part of the lack of production is the play calling, but then also just the inability to get anything going as far as shots down the football field. Everybody's stopping the run, and it's hard to go ahead and give it to Hamilton.
Johnson just flings that ball. It's complete. Another first down. Lake McGuffey pulls it in.
You know, now that you're down, final minutes of the third quarter is ending, and Howard's up 28-9. The throwing of the football now becomes the premium, and you have to abandon the run.
Johnson back again. He's going to run the football on the scramble. He slides, and he's hit at the 44-yard line. Big hit there by Eric Pittman. Johnson heads up play. No receivers open downfield, and gets a pickup of 6. Down 28-9 as the third quarter now winds down.
Sure would like to get a score right before the final seconds tick off. They've yet to really challenge this secondary that has been the weakness of this defense down the football field. And again, there is no run, no gain, because this defensive front has been just so dominant. And that was a strong tackle.
Hit immediately by Richard Johnson in the backfield. And that'll bring up a third down. The end of the third quarter. Howard with the lead. It's 28-9 as we head to the fourth.
The sun comes up and the sun goes down. Work away, work away.
Celebrate the 2014 Embers with official championship gear at NBAstore.com. Shop the entire.
Today's game brought to you by AT&T, mobilizing your world. Howard Bison, 28-9 lead over Morehouse here at RFK Stadium in the nation's capital for this AT&T Nations Football Classic. Rich Freeman and Morehouse looking to get back in this game, down 28-9 in the fourth quarter. Morehouse with a 3rd and 5, 2 of 8 so far this afternoon on third downs. Johnson drops back, looks left, and a great catch brought in by Lance McGuffey. Boy, Johnson threw it up, but McGuffey really made a good play on the football, looking over his shoulder to pull it in.
Yeah, you talk about the McGuffey brothers coming to play today. I mean, that was spectacular. Way to go up and snatch it out of the air with your hands. That was some tight coverage right there. Kenneth Russ was all over him, but boy, great effort to get the ball down.
17 yards on the completion in a first down, and that ball batted down. First down play.
Sometimes when you're a quarterback, you're trying to make different level throws. And what I mean by that is there are times when you're just throwing it either the release point is at your side and side arming it. And that time I thought that the release point was too low and it made it for an easy deflection.
Quavius Johnson listed at 5'11". And at 5'11", you've got to find throwing lanes with the big offensive linemen in front of you, those big defensive linemen with their hands up. At that time, as you mentioned, just kind of sidearmed it, and it was batted down by Devin Rollins. You look along that defensive line, 6'3", all across the defensive line for Howard. Johnson back and overthrows his intended target. It was Cameron Fields who slipped out of the backfield, looked to be wide open, but Johnson just overthrew him.
But this is when you become one-dimensional. It's 28-9. Howard's clearly in control of the game, and defensively, I'm pinning back my ears and I'm going after the quarterback because I know Morehouse has to throw to get back into the ball game, and that's where you're seeing Marquavius really struggling because the pressure's coming right, technically, up the middle of the game, or up the field.
Johnson drops back, pressure, straight up the middle on the keeper, breaks a couple of tackles. He's going to pick up about 8 on the play. It's going to bring up 4th and short. Of course, in need of touchdowns now, down 28-9. 14 minutes left here in the 4th quarter. Morehouse, of course, is going to go for it here on this 4th and 2 play.
Yeah, this is gut check time. If you're Morehouse, you know you want to be in this game. Not a lot of time is left. You have to score on this play. At least get the first down to continue the drive, but absolutely you must come away with 6 on this drive.
4th and 2. Johnson out of the shotgun over the middle, and he throws behind his receiver Fields. And the Howard Bison hold, and they will take over now on downs, and getting pressure on the quarterback has continued throughout today, and it's just another example, maybe getting pressured and throwing a little early and behind his receiver.
Yeah, you know, the timing was off on that, but you got to, you know, credit the defense. Tamlin Antoine, he was in great position to knock that ball down.
13 minutes, 26 seconds left here in the 4th quarter. The 28-9 lead for the Howard Bison. They have the football. They'll start at the 19-yard line, a 1st and 10. The handoff is to Freeman, goes right, pushed out of bounds, just short of the 25. The last 3 possessions now from Morehouse have all ended in turning the ball over on downs and really being forced into having to go for a couple of those on 4th down.
Yeah, and you know, it is disappointing because they played such a strong first half, but they were not able to capitalize any momentum at all in the 3rd quarter, and credit Howard for defensively for really shutting down an offense that had been explosive.
Freeman, a right side, penalty flag, drops to the 20-yard line.
Holding, offense, 58, 10-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Torrey Boyd flagged with that one. Boyd, the most, maybe the most talent along that offensive line, 1st team all-conference.
Sometimes you get a little over anxious, knowing that you want to have your back. Go ahead, you see 58 on the screen. I've seen worse holding jobs than that, but so be it.
I think freezing the video right on the spot where he's holding the arm a little bit, but
yeah, but you don't have video in the ref's
You're
eyes.
absolutely right. You're absolutely right, Q. The pass to Freeman does a terrific job of tipping it to himself. Really nowhere to go on that play. No gain on the play, but Freeman doing a nice job of keeping the ball on the tip. Brian Thomas, the stop for the Tigers.
Don't make a bad play worse. It was the pressure coming in, high pass, could have been intercepted, but no, he was able to tip it to himself and make it a manageable situation for his ball play.
3rd and 13. McGee has 4 wide receivers. Looking left, he goes deep. Colvin goes up and it's knocked down. And a good defensive play by Raynard Ware, the sophomore, making a homecoming. Played his high school football right here in Washington, D.C. and makes a nice play on the deep pass.
Very athletic play, actually. You look at just tracking the ball with his eyes and getting it at his highest point, knocking it down from the receiver. That was really a strong athletic play by Ware.
John Fleck is going to punt out of his own end zone. A few late players coming on the field for Morehouse.
Looks like Colvin might have injured his hand on that play too.
And it is fumbled. The Bison are going to pick it up and to the end zone. Wait a second, the referees are going to mark the ball down right at the 22-yard line.
Can't advance a muff.
Stuart Hartman was the, Atavius Matthews was the Bison who picked it up.
Yep, can't advance a muff.
And so Howard is going to get the football. They're going to mark it now at the 24-yard line. Where the referees, 2 different referees had the ball marked at 2 different spots.
I think where it was muffed and then where the Bisons actually recovered it is where they were looking at.
Give John Fleck credit, the punter with a 64-yard boot. It was muffed and picked up by the Bison, and they are in business. All 3 possessions, all 4 possessions where they started on the Morehouse side of the field today resulted in points. Another opportunity, great field position. Coach Friedman certainly feeling the frustrations, the first turnover of the game. And there's another mistake by Morehouse, a free shot downfield, in and out of the hands of Tavius Brown, who was wide open. It was a free shot, a flag on the field.
Offside, number 98, defense, 5-yard
Look at this seam route down the middle of the football field. You just don't even have to jump for it. Allow it just to come right on down into your hands. Don't jump for it, young man. You're making a easy catch tough. He's probably going to be sick to his stomach as he just sits there and watches film tomorrow with his teammates.
Number 6 should have had 6 on that play, and it was Brandon Key from Morehouse who jumped off sides. Heads-up play by the quarterback who knew he had a free shot into the end zone. McGee delivered a perfect strike, and it was dropped by Tavius Brown.
Tavius Brown is going to say, please give me another opportunity to make another special play.
8 penalties now in the afternoon for Morehouse. Run left. It's going to be a pickup of just a couple for Quadius Freeman. Clarence Christian was there on the stop.
Well, the advantage of running a hurry-up style offense is look back at the sideline, see what is a favorable play. And that time, they saw where the safety was going. They saw the strong side. They ran away from the strength of the defense.
McGee, quick throw to Mercer. Stacked up quickly by the Morehouse defense. Corey Dedison was the first one there.
Yeah, he was, along with Teague and the rest of the boys. That was something that we wish we would have seen by them earlier in the half, where you haven't hatched to the football. There were too many opportunities for run after catch. And this time you can see where Morehouse was having none of it.
Defensive coordinator George Copeland, his hands full this week in preparation for Greg McGee. And McGee complete to Mercer into the end zone. Touchdown, Bison.
That's the exclamation point. I know you're talking about how McGee is just one of those guys that is a dual threat. Well, we saw where he's able to go ahead and get it out to his receiver. Just see back, boom, just strong, easy release of the football. Good hitch route, but even better run after catch. You can see where he's leaning across the goal line for the finish.
17 yards on that score. And Q, it should be mentioned that Robert Mercer, the redshirt sophomore, is playing his first season of football. He's a guy that came over from being on the track team, has a lot of speed, but you could see the ability there, not only the catch, but the spin after the catch for a guy that is just playing his first year of football, that's impressive.
Yes, very much so.
4 plays, 22 yards, and Howard cashes in off of the Morehouse turnover. And Howard extends the lead. It's now 35-9. Greg McGee has 2 touchdowns through the air and 3 on the ground, and it's a big lead for Howard.
So what we're
Howard leads 35-9 here in the 4th quarter, and that brings us to today's play of the game presented by Pepsi. And it is the quarterback, Greg McGee, back in the 3rd quarter, 17 yards on the scramble, takes it into the end zone. That gave Howard the 28-9 lead. Greg McGee having some kind of game today, but that was the play of the game from the Bison quarterback.
How appropriate, too, because it was all 11 just being involved in that play. It wasn't just an individual miraculous effort. You saw where the offensive line fired off the ball, backs are being in position, making blocks down the field, and then of course the receivers, in particular Tavius Brown, with positioning to allow his quarterback to eke his way on into the end zone. Excellent, excellent job of executing a quarterback draw.
And the kick is going to be fielded near the goal line. Left side, dropped around the 25-yard line. And when you look at his stats, Q, what an impressive afternoon it's been for the Pittsburgh native. 16 of 28, 149 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's through the air. Also on the ground today, 9 rushes, 84 yards, and 3 scores. He literally, when we talk about a dual-threat quarterback, he has proven that today.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's just such a special player. Very charismatic. Guys really rally around him. They enjoy him being their team leader, you know, and he's one of those guys where if you're Coach Harrell, you're saying to yourself, okay, I got the pieces in place to make a strong run at the MEAC championship, and that's been their goal. They want to have meaningful games late in the year, and Coach Harrell talked about that. We need to put ourselves in position now to win ball games, so late in the year, we're in the conversation of winning a championship.
It helps when you have senior leadership, the quarterback position. That is thrown by Johnson and complete. Nice turn by Lake McGuffey and a big pickup for the Tigers. Getting back to Howard for a moment. The last time they won a MEAC title, you have to go all the way back to 1993. But when you have a quarterback like Greg McGee, senior leadership, you have an offensive line with experience. This could be their season.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's about being healthy and making sure you don't have any major injuries. I mean, they certainly have depth, as we see McGuffey doing a fine job of run after catch. But they definitely have the tools to really be competitive.
Down the field, complete. Inside the 10-yard line, Lance McGuffey brings it in.
McGuffey brothers.
Nice throw by Quavius Johnson.
Why did we not see this earlier in the game? We saw a lot of controlled passing. Now we're seeing them take shots down the middle of the football field, down the seams, in between the numbers and the hash. We're seeing that and being effective with it, accurate with it. I wish we would have seen it earlier.
36 yards. Johnson to McGuffey. From the 6. And into the end zone. Touchdown. Morehouse.
Wow. Okay, that we call a great individual effort. To his right, they tried to outflank the defense by having a flood of receivers go. You see the guy in motion trying to go ahead and outflank the defense. Nothing was there. And the Howard defenders has him under wraps, but couldn't bring him down. That was a strong run by Marquavius.
Marquavius Johnson had a 32-yard completion, a 36-yard completion, and then he finishes it with a touchdown run. A nice job by Shelton Hamilton picking up the blitz and allowed Johnson to get out of the pocket for the score.
Yeah, Marquavius has had such a day.
It's a fake extra point, the throw to the end zone, and it is good. The 2-point conversion.
Marquavius, you can see where his offense has really struggled outside of that fourth drive, that final drive where it resulted in a touchdown. But other than that, they've really, struggled overall of trying to move the ball and get points up on the board.
A nice throw by Joshua Thurston on that 2-point conversion. 35-17 now. Howard has the lead with 8:58 left here in the fourth quarter.
You gotta be thinking potential onside kick. If you're Howard, you probably would bring out your hands team. If you're Morehouse, you're gonna want to potential either onside it or maybe even pooch it up so it gets behind the first wave of guys trying to catch the ball. A lot of gamesmanship happens on a kickoff after a score in the fourth quarter when there's a potential to get the ball back.
And that's exactly what Howard's doing. As you can see, Coach Harrell has his hands team on the field. Robert Mercer is the only guy back. He's at the 25-yard line. 9 Bison, all within about 10 yards. And they will kick it away, and it's going to be Mercer to field it at the 22. Right side. Oh, beats the man on the quarter. Mercer with speed out to midfield. Robert Mercer, the fastest guy on this Bison team, showing his speed.
Loves to play football, Coach told us. Loves the opportunity to go out there and show what he can do. Is not just a typical track athlete. Guy is fast, but he has a good football sense too. They're really surprised as well as he was able to grasp the game and really go out there and be productive for them.
Eric Robinson from Morehouse Maroon just saved a touchdown as Mercer found the edge. It was going down the left sideline. 30 yards on that return from Mercer. So Howard will start at the 47-yard line. Again, great field position for the Bison. McGee quickly to Coleman, who is knocked out of his hands. Emmanuel Parks came up, the sophomore, the big hit. Parks had a fourth quarter interception last week that helped seal the win for Morehouse.
Ooh, that's vicious. That's just timing it up. I mean, that was Emmanuel Parks saying, okay, we might got me earlier on a touchdown, but you're not going to get me again on the old simple little hitch route. Made up ground quickly and put a vicious hit on him.
McGee under center here, 2nd and 10. Give is to Freeman, but there's a flag on the play.
Might be holding on the backside guard or tackle. I'll say this to be true. Morehouse, you see the guys on the field, they're not sitting there holding their heads down. They're
Shot
very...
drop, 72, offense. 15-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Malcolm Rutledge, the right guard, flag there.
So Malcolm trying to seal the backside. He is the guard on the right side of your screen, number 72. His player, Nathan Lewis, the center, was engaged with the defensive player, and you're not allowed to go low at his knee. That's what Rutledge did that time. That cut block, that chop block, good call by the official.
2nd and long, it's a 15-yard penalty. That one is going to be in and out of the hands of the intended target, Tavius Brown.
Tavius Brown's having a tough go at it. Missed a surefire touchdown earlier, and now a quick slant over the middle.
You wonder if that still sits with you mentally a little bit.
Oh, it can. It can. The fact that your quarterback went back to you shows the confidence that he has in you. But it definitely can.
3rd down coming up, 5 of 9 on the afternoon, but this is 3rd and 25. McGee is going to just tuck it. He's going to get back to nearly the line of scrimmage. Pickup of about 13.
Or the original line
play.
of scrimmage, you should say.
The original line of scrimmage. 13 on the play.
Yeah.
4th and 11 coming up, and they're going to punt it. John Fleck now out on the field, averaging nearly 42 yards a punt so far early in the season.
Good for Morehouse on that offensive series. Defensively, they are forcing Howard to punt the football and potentially can get it back with some decent field position.
Fair catch at the 16 by Joshua Thurston. So as we talked about, certainly a great history in this rivalry between these two great institutions. Some of the notable alumni at Morehouse College. Of course, Dr. Martin Luther King, Spike Lee, the great filmmaker, Samuel L. Jackson. We were talking track a little bit ago. Edwin Moses was one of the best to ever do it on the track.
400-meter hurdler. Had an incredible winning streak. The Olympian gold medalist. One of the most dominant performances ever by an individual athlete.
Quick throw out into the flat, man. Lance McGuffey brings it in. It was Kenneth Russ on the stop. Seven minutes left here in the fourth quarter. Howard with a 35-17 lead. 2nd and 5 for the Tigers. 4 wide receivers from Quavius Johnson. Sophomore quick throw and right through the hands of McGuffey.
Okay.
Latavius Matthews, maybe McGuffey heard the footsteps. Matthews was coming quick.
Okay, so you know you're going to get hit.
So catch the football.
You might as well go ahead and be the hero and make the catch. Come on, McGuffey. If I'm his brother, I'm like, come on, man. Got to make that play for our quarterback. Montavious.
3rd and 5.
Monquavius, pardon me. I can make that play.
A little quick throw, too. That may have also caught McGuffey by surprise. Bison with a blitz. Picked up well. Johnson throws it deep right, but it is out of bounds. And McGuffey can't pull it in. McGuffey actually stepped out of bounds around the 45-yard line. You saw the referee throw his hat down. So he was not eligible even to come back and try to catch the football, but clearly a good defensive play by number 22.
Yeah, Tamlin
Antoine, the redshirt sophomore.
Yeah, you know, that's one of those plays where never ever in the history of football at any level has a pass been completed out of bounds.
Not once.
Nope. Lake McGuffey,
Tested
though.
And true. He tried.
He had a poor top of the route, we would call it. Faded a little bit too much, although the ball did take him that way, but he could have had a better, what is called a stem up the sideline.
Morehouse College,
on
this is their
Antoine.
first charge timeout this half.
It's going to be a timeout.
This is a 30-second timeout.
On the field. 6:31 left. Howard leading 35-17. Certainly for Howard, this is a big win after starting the season with 2 losses. This is going to come as a very big win before they have to play Morgan State next week. And we just saw a moment ago some of the famous alum from Morehouse. How about Howard University? Antoine Bethea, by the way, of course, long career in the NFL, maybe the most famous football player to come out of Howard. Thurgood Marshall, Elijah Cummings, of course, who we know well in the Maryland area.
Felicia Rashad, boy, I of the Cosby Show, I grew up saying, you know, that's my mom.
For a lot of people in that generation, Q, and we're pretty close in age,
Yes.
the Cosby Show was
Yes.
must-see TV.
Yes. Ben Ali, Mr. Ben Chile with the Chile Bowl. Come on now.
Here's the punt, and no one back. It's going to take a Morehouse bounce inside the 45 and finally down at the 33. Howard with a 35-17 lead.
Embrace your past, but live for now.
Now put your arm on this, 'cause I put it.
So what we're looking for is a way to plus our accounting firm's mobile plan.
And minus our expenses. Perfect timing. We're offering our best ever pricing on mobile plans for business. Run the numbers on that. Well, unlimited talk and text and 10 gigs of data for the 5 of you would be
$175 a month.
Good calculating, Kyle. Good job, Kyle.
You just made partner.
Our best ever pricing on mobile share value plans for business. Now with a $100 bill credit for every business line you add.
70, 100, $125 a month? What can you save? 0 for 72 has been extended at your local Ford dealer. So discover America's favorite brand and get 0% financing for 72 months on thousands of Ford favorites. That's right, 0 for 72. That can lower your payment by up to $125 a month. That's up to $9,000 in finance savings. What can you save? Find out by September 30th at your local Ford dealer.
Howard leads 35-17, 6:18 left here in the fourth quarter. And let's take a look at today's player of the game. It's presented by the U.S. Marines. And I think this one was a pretty easy one. 5 touchdowns today for the quarterback, Greg McGee. He was awesome. 3 rushing the football, 2 passing the football. The Bison quarterback having one of those career afternoons.
Well, he will be very familiar with that AT&T Classic MVP trophy. He's already has 2 of them in his trophy case at home, and he will add this one to it as well. The left-hander has done an amazing job, and again, the expectations are high this year for this ball club, and in large part due to the play of number 7, Greg McGee.
The 4-year starter, Greg McGee. Freeman with a handoff, pick up of a couple. As we've mentioned, last year was a conference player of the year, 19 total touchdowns. He's got 5 just today. And he's the only quarterback in FBS football currently with over 1,800 rushing yards and over 5,500 passing yards as he closes in on the all-time total yards mark in the MEAC conference.
Very impressive. That's moving the football and being explosive when you're talking those type of numbers.
Second and long, the handoff to Freeman right up the middle, and a huge pickup, about 12 on the carry, and a first down for the Bison as they move the chains here in the fourth quarter.
Wyatt is kept. This young man has had a good game as well. Freeman has done a tremendous job of this fourth quarter when they needed to run the ball. He's had some big runs. Caught the ball well out of the backfield as well. Give credit is due. I mean, he's followed his blockers, but he's also made guys miss once he's gotten into that second level.
Coach Flea Harrell last week talking to Bison head coach said that Freeman really has great vision. He said out of all the players, he just sees the field as well as anyone. You see it on the cutback there. Freeman getting a workload here in the fourth quarter as we're inside of 5 minutes, but he had a big touchdown last weekend against Rutgers, a 20-yard TD run. And again, just today continues to pick up chunks of yardage rushing the football. Is Dixon on the stop for Morehouse.
He's just so decisive with his movement, and I think that's what separates an average back from really, really highly productive one. Freeman really is decisive. I want to go here. I want to make sure that I'm setting up my blockers well, and then the acceleration to get the extra yards is so evident.
And off to Freeman. He's going to cut back, pick up about 1. You should also credit the Bison offensive line. 4 of the 5 are returning on the offensive line. Only the center, Nathan Lewis, is the first-time starter. Smith, Reyes, Rutledge, Boyd, all coming back. And so you have that experience up front for this offensive line. again to Freeman, close first down marker. They'll say he was tripped up short on that third down play, so it's going to bring up a 4th and 1. Mario Dixon, the senior out of Ellenwood, Georgia, on the stop.
Morehouse College, this is their second choice timeout.
If you take a look at the upcoming schedule, not only do they play here at RFK this week, but they'll go to MetLife Stadium next week. Another classic. They'll play Morgan State on a neutral field. Really opening the season, back-to-back road games against FBS teams, and then 2 neutral field games. Of course, Morehouse this afternoon, Morgan State next week. They won't play their first home game until they host North Carolina A&T on September the 27th.
Yeah, you got to be a road warrior, if you will, and it's all a part of playing winning football. I mean, it doesn't matter where we play. We go out there and we're confident in playing together as a team, and I think that one thing you know with Coach Harrell is he feels pretty good about his team's mental makeup, the toughness that they show. At the same time, he also feels good about their physical conditioning, too. That was one thing he really stressed this year with his team. Taking a year off, I think, for Coach Harrell really was important to kind of recharge himself and really be more enthused about the game of football. I think this year he's really excited to see how far this team can go.
Of course, Rayford Petty was the interim head coach last year, who is the defensive coordinator for the Bison. The transition seemed to work pretty well as head coach Gary Flea Harrell stepped away for personal reasons for a season, but like you said, he's really hungry. He talked about missing the game. That first game he set out and had to watch at home, I think it really hit him, and he was really excited to be back on the sidelines, and I think maybe a little bit refreshed, maybe, rejuvenated a little bit. So you could hear it in his voice talking to him this week, just fired up to be back a part of this program.
He was also saying how he was more patient. Just understanding of guys and what it is as far as being a collegiate athlete and trying to, do your best, but having so much on your plate. And I think, sometimes when you have something that you love and it's taken away from you, you get it back, you start to appreciate it even more so. And I think he sees guys like a McGee and really understands how cool it is to be able to coach them and get the most out of them.
That pass incomplete. When you talk about Gary Flea Harrell, of course, he played at Howard, played here. He's an alum, and he played back in the early 90s. He was known he's a wide receiver, known for his speed. That's where he got the nickname Flea. Great return specialist.
Yeah.
But the last time the Howard Bison won a MEAC championship, 1993, that was his last season, senior season. He knows what it takes to win a championship. He knows the tradition of Howard University football, and he wants to bring it back. He made no, he didn't mince words. He said this season is all about winning a title.
Road to glory is what he calls it. That is the theme of going into this season. There's a road to glory, and I know Akron and Rutgers were difficult 2 games against FBS opponents. If you look at the schedule the rest of the way, starting with this game today and obviously going on the grand stage yet again at MetLife Stadium for another classic against Morgan State, I think they have an opportunity to really go on a run. It's going to be a test against Bethune-Cookman coming up in October. Boy, this is a good squad.
Matthew Parker there on the stop. Also, the Dewey was quickly right behind his teammate as he took down Quavius Johnson. We also talked to Coach Harrell about playing in these big stadiums. It is a different feel. He said this week would definitely help them as they go to MetLife next week to take on Morgan State. That is a big matchup between rivals that are not separated by that many miles. Strike is complete. Lake McGuffey brings it in right at the 40-yard line.
Some positives for Morehouse to take away from this game is the play of the McGuffey brothers. Both guys have come up with some big catches and been in position to help out Monquavius Johnson grow as a quarterback. I know at the same time, offensively, you got to say, we have to take more shots down the football field sooner in the game. They did a great job of really, methodically driving down the game, but at some point in time, you got to be able to get a big play by throwing it down the football field.
Inside handoff. Shelton Hamilton. Pickup of 10.
The unknown player. He arrives wearing number 27. They call him Hamilton.
We talked about a field position so big today. Every time it seemed like Howard would start a drive, they'd start on the Morehouse side of the football or of the field. That's going to be flags and a face mask.
Wow. Personal foul, face mask.
What was that?
Defense, number 96. 15 yards from the previous spot, first down.
Damon Gresham Chisholm, junior from Georgia.
Previous spot.
Got his hands on the face mask and didn't let go, and that's going to be the 15-yard flag.
Absolutely. That was some major hands in the face action going on there.
You know, it should also be pointed out, Q, that this Bison secondary has done a nice job without safety Julian David, who is out. Had surgery on his foot. Led this team in tackles a couple of years ago. He's just part of two seniors that start there at the safety position. One of the strengths of this defense, and without him, this Bison secondary did a nice job this afternoon. That was dropped by Lake McGuffey.
Yeah, you know, I thought going into this game there would be some opportunities because of David being out of the ball game, but you're right. They held up really well. I think Rayford Petty had this team, you know, fueled and ready to go, recognizing that, you know, there's going to be challenges regardless, but if you can go ahead and keep the technique and trust your fundamentals, you're going to come out on top.
Nice completion. Cameron Fields hauls it in, one-handed catch. The sophomore. Well, there certainly was some concern for the Bison in that secondary because they have two sophomores starting at quarterback.
This is a 30-second timeout.
But overall, as a group today, despite the fact they have that youth at corner, they've done a nice job.
Yeah,
What a nice catch there by Cameron Fields.
No, you're right. I mean, a lot of youth at that receiver spot as far as not a lot of catches, but today was a day where they stood tall, made some really good catches over the middle, on the sideline. You just need to go ahead and make the big play down the field. That's the big one. Get the plays down the football field.
I can see just now off to the sideline, they're bringing out the trophy for the AT&T Nations Football Classic, and for the fourth straight year, it will go to the Howard Bison. A decisive victory today over Morehouse. And for Howard, it'll be their first win of the season. They'll go to 1-2 on the year after opening the season with back-to-back losses to FBS schools. They lost to Akron and Rutgers, but today they get the job done, and they will get to hold the trophy high. Throw into the end zone for Johnson, overthrown it out of the end zone. Inside 30 seconds, down to 26 now on the clock.
This is a game that knew Howard, if they were smart about it because of the play of McGee, that they would have an opportunity to win. Now it's about regrouping and being smart and retooling yourself and mentally focusing in on next week's opponent. If you're Morehouse, you kind of got to, you know, say to yourself, all right, you know, how do we need to get better as a football team? I think part of it, you know, Monquavius Johnson, the young man can flat out play. And you have a rushing attack that you already know is strong and you can rely upon. Now it's about putting it together. It's about, you know, having it and making it work. Right there you see the effort of McGuffey going down the football field, and that draws the flag, and there's a pass interference on Tamlin Antoine. So I think part of what we're seeing, you see him grabbing his arm and pulling back, and
he's holding that left arm down.
Yep. It's just good effort, though, by McGuffey as far as running his route and trying to finish. You did not see.
Number 15, defense, 15-yard penalty, first down.
You did not see a give up in the mind of Morehouse. And that's where you credit the mental toughness of Coach Freeman and his staff for preparing these young men to play 4 quarters. The score doesn't indicate it, but they played hard today.
And again, that youth on the Bison, in the Bison secondary. Antoine, a sophomore. Russ and Hunt, sophomores. Johnson, a sophomore. Thiel, a freshman. A lot of youth in this Bison secondary. McGuffey got turned around on the Johnson throw and falls incomplete in the end zone.
He was wide open. I wonder if that was a misunderstanding on what exactly his responsibilities were as far as the routes were concerned. Yeah, you could see where he was running towards the post, and he was thinking he was going towards the pylon, the back pylon.
Second down. Johnson back under a lot of pressure, throws to the end zone, incomplete. Johnson was feeling the heat on that play. Devin Rollins coming straight up the middle, putting pressure on the quarterback.
Five seconds left, take a shot into the end zone. If you're Howard, playing that quarters coverage, keep everything in front of you, tackle him, and let him sniff it. Move all down, tackle him, get him down. Game over.
Which should be the final play of the game as Johnson drops back. A little pressure, he's going to try to run it in, tripped up and stopped at the 5. And that is how it'll end. Howard with their first win of the season as they knock out Morehouse here in the AT&T Nations Football Classic. In the final at RFK, Howard wins it 35-17.
So what we're looking for is a way to plus our accounting firm's mobile plan.
And minus our expenses. Perfect timing. We're offering our best ever pricing on mobile plans for business. Run the numbers on that. Well, unlimited talk and text and 10 gigs of data for the 5 of you would be
$175 a month.
Good calculating, Kyle.
Good job, Kyle.
You just made partner.
Our best ever pricing on mobile share value plans for business. Now with a $100 bill credit for every business line you add.
Huh. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Everybody knows that.
Well, did you know that words really can hurt you?
What?
Jesse, don't go! Jesse, no!
I'm sorry, Daisy, but I'm...
35-17 the final here at the AT&T Nations Football Classic. Howard has won this game all 4 years against Morehouse. They close in style with this victory. Brett Harris and Connor Ismail, and it was the quarterback Greg McGee. He was spectacular today, 5 touchdowns, 3 of them rushing the football and 2 throwing.
Yeah, he was as advertised. We knew that he was the type of guy that you just have to watch out for. He's so electric. He was poised all day as far as getting it out to his receivers, but when it was time to make a run, he made a spectacular run so many different times, and as you said, 5 TDs on a day.
Dual threat quarterback coming through, and you look at the final statistics, it's incredible that the Maroon Tigers actually held the ball for nearly 35 minutes of this game. Bison had great field position all day. They took advantage of that and were able to get points out.
Yeah, basically they rushed and gained them total yards, but bottom line came down to it. The Bison came away with the more points.
And they did. Our final score here, 35-17 for Connor Ismail, Lou Holder, and our entire crew. I'm Brett Harris. This has been a presentation of Comcast Sportsnet in conjunction with Events TV and Kate Productions Incorporated. Congratulations once more to Howard University.
The sun comes up.